before the storm, they rise. Not just to compete, but to conquer the impossible. This is not just a race. It's the pursuit of perfection, a battle of wind, water, and willpower. They come from every corner of the earth. The fastest, the fiercest, the most fearless. Riders who've trained their whole lives for this moment. Masters of balance, precision, and raw explosive speed. Foiling above the surface, defying gravity, chasing fractions of seconds, chasing glory. This is where champions are made and legends are born. Every gust, every jibe, the pinnacle of wind-powered sport, the apex of human performance. This is not just the future of sailing. This is the future of sport.
Good afternoon for the final day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. My name's Rafferty Reid, and joining me here in the booth, bronze medalist, silver medalist and gold medalist, Olympic windsurfing champion and overall windsurfing legend, Barbara Kendall. How's it going?
Great to be here again and great to be sitting beside you, and really looking forward to today. My heart rate has gone up a little bit. I'm very excited about today and what we're about to see, and I can only imagine how stoked all those 16 sailors that are going to be hitting the water soon, how they must be feeling as well.
It must be a load of pressure, but it's going to be putting on an awesome show for us. The whole week has led up to this moment where the top 8 athletes will be fighting it out for those podium positions. So, here on the final day, how does the medal series works though? Let's have a little look at how it works.
We're testing new formats for LA, so we are working on a new medal race format. We are trying to make something that comes out fair for the sailors. So if you had a good performance week, we want to protect the leaders of the opening series. So we will still have a quarterfinal, a semi-final and a final, but different to before, we'll have 4 sailors at each stage and 2 advancing. So 2 advance from the quarterfinal to the semi-final and 2 from the semi to the final. Already in the final, we will have the leader of the opening series and the second place from the opening series. Very different to what we had in the past. We are going to claim the first place of the event, collecting wins. So the leader of the opening series is sitting in the final with 1 win. The second from the opening series is sitting in the final with a 0.5 win. And then the ones that are coming into the final from the semi-final, third and fourth, let's call them, they are with 0 wins. So the first sailor that collects 2 wins is the winner of the event, and we finish the event at that moment. So for example, the leader of the opening series that has 1 win, when we do the first attempt of the final, if he wins that one, the event is over. He collected 2 wins and the event is over. Second place will be for the second of the opening series, which has a 0.5. And then third and fourth would be whoever finishes in front of each other from the guys that are coming in from the semi-final. If we have someone, from example, from the semi-final that went into the final and they win the first race, he would collect a victory. And then we go again until anybody collects 2 wins.
The first sailor that has those 2 wins will take that gold medal and be crowned the 2005 IQ World Foiling Championship. So we're going to have a quick look to see who's in the money to try and win take out the medal standings. So in our top 8 sailors at the moment that will be in the medal race, we'll start from actually 12th that didn't quite make the medal race. So Johan So, he was in 12th from Denmark. Pavel Tarnowski, he was in 11th. Noah Lyons from the United States in 10th. Then Yoav Omer, he was in 9th. And now our finalists that go into the medal race, Tomer Vadmon from Israel. We've got Tomano from France. He's having a blinder of a regatta here. It's great to see some new faces coming into this top 8. Luc van Opperzeeland, so he won the bronze medal in Paris in 2024. He's definitely amped up and ready to go and take a medal from this World Championships. Matthias Isaac from Brazil is in 5th. Our Sail GP representative for our class, Kieran Badlow, who is the gold medalist in Tokyo. So he's come back stronger and fitter and faster, and he's hungry for that medal place. Nicolas Goyard, he's been around for quite a while. He's a really consistent sailor. I'm sure he's going to bring everything he's got. Nicolo Rena from Italy in the money as well. And sitting at the top of the ladder, we have Andy Brown from Great Britain. And this is probably the first time that he's been in that top group at the World Championships. So a really great event for him. And he'll be sitting up the top, waiting for the one more win where he can take that gold medal.
And moving on to the women here for the final standings currently overall in this competition. So the rest of this, the 9th to 12th. In 12th, we have Marta Margetti. In 11th, Isla Watson. In 10th, V. Tenhave. In 9th, Shahar Tibi. And moving on to the top 8, who we will be seeing racing it out here in Aarhus. In 8th and 7th, we have an absolute blinding of a competition from both Maja Janowska from Poland, actually, and in 7th, we have Palma Chargo, both having really good competition so far, and they're kind of in that place where they haven't got a huge amount to lose. They are going to be pushing to the absolute max. And in 6th place, we have last year's European champion, Daniela Peleg. In 5th, we have last year's Vice-European champion as well, Maja Gisler from Norway. In 4th, we have the current 2024 iQFOiL world champion, Sharon Cantor. She's currently in that 4th place position. I'm sure she'll be working to the absolute max to maybe defend her title a little bit more, maybe move up a little bit, but it is extremely exciting, and a lot is going to be happening here. In 3rd place, Theresa Marie Steinlein, also having a great competition. After day number 3, I think she was 3rd place overall. Still in that 3rd place, she was also wearing the blue bib this week. Currently still in around that top 3 places at the minute. So again, she'll be working hard, hopefully to defend her podium place there, but maybe even build up the medals. And currently coming into the final day in 2nd, we have Tamar Steinberg, previous youth world champion and now absolutely shredding with the seniors. Earlier on in the year, she did win the international games in Cadiz, so she certainly has what it takes to take Emma off the top spot. Emma needs no real introduction. One of the best sailors, her name has been around. She is in the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. She picked up that bronze medal. A super dominating woman here, showing exactly how it is done. She didn't have the best start to the week, actually. However, she has moved straight back up there and currently in the leading spot. Will she be able to take it? We will be finding out very soon.
So now we'll be moving on to actually how it works. For those that haven't seen how a medal series works before, here's the ladder to show you what happens first. So our first heat of the day will be Israel, France, the Netherlands and Brazil. So they will start and then from there, the top 2 from that quarterfinal will move into the semi-final and meet France, Nikolai Goyard, and Kieran Badlow. They will run a heat, and then the top 2 will move on into the final 4. Into a sail off, and then the top 1 will move into meet Andy Brown and Nicolo Rene in that final 3. And I'm pretty sure I've got that correct because it's new for me as well. So
Indeed, yeah. So it's a new system here we have at the World Championships, and it makes a really good system here. So not only does it make it super easy to follow and exciting for us, it also makes it, it rewards all the sailors that have put in the really hard work all throughout the previous week. So yes, here we are. The same thing goes for the women in the medal series. To start off with, in that quarterfinal, we have places 5 to 8. The top 2 within that race go to the semi-final to join Teresa Steinlein and Sharon Cantor. And then again in that semi-final, the top two from that go to join Emma Wilson and Tamar Steinberg for that grand final. Now we can see those stars on the right of the screen. Emma Wilson, for her top performance throughout the week, is rewarded with that by having one win already, and Tamar Steinberg with half a win. Remember, it is first to 2 wins takes the championship title. So, a quick run through. 4 riders make the grand final, top 2 from the semis and top 2 from the previous series. Those get bonus points for their top performances earlier in the week. First overall with 1 win and second with half a win. First to reach 2 points out of these 4 riders wins. Win races, earn points, and if there's a tie, the latest race decides it. So, cool, blimey. It's going to be an awesome one.
It's going to be amazing. And I think we may have the courses up pretty soon. So for those that we have a different format actually for the medal race. So you can see on the screen now that the courses just come up. So they actually do a reaching start. So that is across the wind. And that's the fastest point of sail on a foil, the iQFOiL. From that, they'll go through the start round mark number 1 and downwind, which is where probably there'll be gains or losses because it's quite gusty out there today. And we were looking at a shot just earlier upwind, and there's really dark lines coming through and big silver patches. So that'll be looking over your shoulder to see which line you're going to take downwind to go through the gate at the bottom. So you've got to go in between 2S and 2P, deciding whether you're going to take it to the right or to the left, port or starboard, back up to mark number 1, down again through the gate and to the finish.
It's a really awesome course here for the medal series because it includes all points of sail, that reaching, the downwind, back upwind, and finally that reach. So on those reaches, it's going to be all power, all hunkering down, trying to get the biggest speed possible, drag racing. But then for those upwinds and downwinds, it's going to be really exciting because there is where we see some of the biggest tactical gains, but also tactical losses, unfortunately. So it's kind of that puzzle, isn't it?
It is. It's like a chess game because, they're going to be pumping, like fanning the sail to get as fast as they can. But there comes a point when you are pumping the sail that you go into oxygen debt and your brain stops working. So you have to know where your limit is to where your brain can still work, because you've got to look around you, you've got to get your head up out there, looking for that next gust, looking to where the bottom mark is, looking to where your competitors are. And if you go into that oxygen debt, your brain you can just shut down. And so that is part of the game as well. Not only how fast you can go, but how smart you can sail.
Is a whole load of decisions that all these riders have to go throughout their head, not even just during the race, even before the start of the race. And then towards the end, that's where we can see some of the biggest kind of, let's say crashes, kind of adrenaline, kind of action is that final drag race towards the finish. And remember, for the final race, whoever wins that final race will be crowned the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. And going on to the weather for the forecast.
We have a beautiful day out there. It really, summer has hit today. It's beautiful and warm. They're saying 11 to 21 knots on the course right now and direct northerly. So it's a great breeze. We've been blessed by the weather gods. We've got wind today for our final racing, which really adds to the excitement. So even with that, you can see the fluctuation in the wind. You'll be able to see that on the water as we get higher up and some of the shots that are coming through, and see those gusty dark patches where it will be maybe close to 21 knots. Those are the patches you want to stay in when you're racing in this medal series.
Certainly. So we've definitely got a bit wind out here for the final day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. And with that, let's have a little look at the highlights from day number 4 that was yesterday. Welcome to day number 4 of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships here in Aarhus. It was a slow start to the day, so we managed to catch up with the current men's leader, Tom Arnoux.
I work a lot this year to be a good sportsmanship and a good man. Medal race, it's in 2 days, so before I stay focused on the day by day.
With the sunset looming over the sailors, the race committee decided to give it a go, and boy, did it pay off. the end of day 4, both gold fleets completed a mix of upwind and downwind sprint races. In the women, Emma Wilson leads after today, thanks to continuing her success from the day before. In the men, the top 3 are separated by 1 point. Nicolas Goyard stays in 3rd, while Nicola Renner puts himself up into 2nd place, and at the top, Andy Brown from Great Britain.
Yeah, shockingly, I think I'm leading by the skin of my teeth. So I'm happy, and weirdly enough, the guy I'm living with, my flatmate, Nicolo.
So just cutting that short as we are now in sequence for the first race here for the medal series. We're starting with the women coming up very soon. Where is that start? And off we go. It is the quarterfinal coming up on our screens at the minute. Maja Janowska, Maja Gisler, Israel 2 and Croatia 9 all racing it out in this quarterfinal. Bit of an interesting start there to start off with.
It looks like one of our sailors was a little bit misjudged the gusts, and that's a really, it's time to distance when you go to start on that start line and judging how far away you want to do your last jibe before you make your run into the start. So unfortunately we have, and it's pretty hard to come back from here, but it's not over, as they say, until the fat lady sings. And with these gusty conditions, the race is still wide open.
But it's certainly looking like Palmachago in the front there, having one maybe the best start so far. Maja Darnovska just to below of her. It's looking very close on this top upwind drag race towards that first mark. Not much separating them at all, only maybe a board length or so, but rounding the first mark in first place, it is Poland 7, Maja Darnovska. Just to the left, Palmachago in that 2nd place at the minute, closely followed by Daniela Pelle, currently in that 3rd place position. And remember, it's only the top 2 within this quarterfinal who progress into that semi-final. So it's going to be the battle for the top 2. It doesn't matter where you finish in that top 2, you just have to be in that top half.
Okay, so all the girls have actually jibed and going back down towards the gate. So it would be really interesting to see who's actually got their ley line correct coming into that mark. You can see in one of those screens the red patrol boat, inflatable boat. That is the jury with a yellow flag on the back, because we don't, if there is any infringements during this race, they can actually sort them out right here and now, because there's no time to go to the protest room. So the girls are heading downwind now, full pumping, and they'll be, the hearts will be on, of course. They only have to do 1 tack. So their main aim now is to get the ley line, so the right angle when they tack, to get straight to that top mark, whereas the other girls are going to have to do 2 tacks as they come into that top mark. And we know from every tack that you do lose quite a lot of speed, quite a lot of distance. So that was a interesting move by both of them, and like I said, if you just follow, you're never going to pass. So hopefully they've chosen a good line of wind to tack on as they come back. So we have Poland in the lead right now, and she's really in control of this race from that position. Whoa!
Bit of a stopping tack from Maja there, unfortunately. Will she be able to get back up on the foil? That is at the forefront of her mind right now. Maja Gisler also putting in her tack right now. She is pumping extremely hard, trying to get straight back up onto the foil. Will this be her clenching moment when she can get into those top 2 spots for this quarterfinal to progress into that semi-final? But it's looking like both Maja and also both Maja from Poland and Maja from Norway have now got up on the foil at the same time. The other 2 of the riders in the back of our screens at the minute. Where will this cross be? Will they have made it?
It looks like they've actually cleared quite nicely from the other 2 sailors from the angle that we're looking at. But, really, you've got to keep pumping, you've got to keep working to get to that ley line. Yes, it looks like we have Poland and Norway. The Majas.
Indeed. Yeah, right.
The Majas in front. How about that, eh?
Yeah, sure.
2 Majas. There must be something in the name today.
That's it. They've certainly made the right decision out onto the right side of the course here, haven't they? Well, I mean, no confirming quite yet, because we can't quite make out the view of the others on the other side of the screen. However, it's looking
No, it looks
okay.
like
There we go.
No, they've actually cleared. So that was a really good move by the Mayas, going around the right-hand gate to get to that top mark. They only had to do one tack. Obviously, it was quite difficult getting up, but no, really great lay lines by both of them to get around that top mark.
Very good
and
lay lines.
Now they're actually looking pretty sweet for that downwind as well. And the other Maya coming around now, I know Maya from Norway, she's only 18.
Indeed.
And showing real great maturity in keeping her head together, not following the pack, sailing her own lines, which has actually jumped her up into this top two, and they will advance. But it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Certainly not over.
I'll try not to say that too many times, but yeah, we've got in these conditions, it's really, you've got to keep your head on your shoulders, keep your head out of the boat, and keep going.
Exactly, and that is a great shot to see those bands of pressure coming in. It is anything but consistent out here, but this is making, as you said, some really exciting tactical and strategic racing from these riders. Where are they going to put in their tacks? Where are they going to put in their jives? And where are they going to work hardest and putting in those pumping stints? But it's looking like Maja Darnowska from Poland and Maja Gisler from Norway are showing us exactly how it is done.
Absolutely, and you can see at the top mark there, one of the girls has actually fallen off the foil and had a
rest of those riders, Daniela Peleg and Palmachago, be able to come. Rest of those riders, Daniela Peleg and Palmachago, be able to come through and nab that second place.
Wow, it's looking pretty light out.
Rest of those riders, Daniela Peleg and Palmachago.
For the drama, this is it. It doesn't get better than this as far as drama, passing lanes. It's all about staying in that breeze, staying in that pressure. So there we have the first two through to the next round.
And there we have it. Top two going towards the finish inside of this women's quarterfinal. Daniela Peleg banking herself in that semi-final along with Maja Gisler. What a race that was.
What a race that was. And that's, that's yacht racing. It's not just A to B, C to D. There's all sorts of different courses that you can take and decisions that you have to make in this particular race.
There we have it. I mean, we did see earlier on in that race, both Palmachago from Croatia and Maja from Poland having the best starts there. Sometimes we've seen how important these starts are. If you have a good start, that sets you up well. You have the clean wind and you can defend. However, especially in these conditions here in Denmark, Aarhus, it's extremely important not just to concentrate on that start, but throughout the race.
Absolutely. And if we looked at that last shot, you can see those silver patches. And so this is as a sailor, and this comes with experience as well, but having to look over your shoulder the whole time and sail to those gusts on the wind, even if you overlay, which means you've gone a little bit too far, you can always hot up and go back to the mark if you need to. So there we have our first two winners through until the semi-finals.
Wow. Be very interesting to see what happens next. Good grief. I mean, what a quarter-final that was. A lot of mixing around. Will we see a lot more mixing around for the rest of these races? I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will, because the conditions out there haven't changed that much. So as yet, although they are forecasting up to 21 knots, but within those 20 knots, the wind's coming down, hitting the water and spreading out like a fan, and in between there's like these glassy patches. So it is really keeping your heads out of that boat.
Certainly. But what a dreamy day it is here in Denmark, in Aarhus. It is absolutely lovely. The sun is shining, lots of blue sky. It's quite a contrast to what we've had throughout this week. Well, I mean, not that we've had the opposite of this throughout the week, but we've had a lot of conditions throughout, haven't we?
We've had a real variety, with the first day where it was actually quite a good breeze, and they managed to get 4 course races in, which is great, because through the series, we've been able to, all the sailors have been able to experience the 3 different disciplines of iQFOiling. So whether it was the course racing in the first day where we had good breeze, the next day we had sprints slalom, and in the last day we had a couple of sprint slalom and just slalom. So we really have got our best all-round sailors here today in these finals.
Indeed. The top 8 top 8, and that's something that is slightly different here for this 2025 World Championships, isn't it? Before we had the top 10 actually going through to the medal series, but now it is the top 8. And being someone who has done a lot of top tier racing in your time, how do you think it's a different mentality for these riders, having been used to the top 10 going through and now only the top 8?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I know that obviously if you were 9th and 10th in this World Championship, you'd be a bit disappointed to change because you missed out on the medal race where you can actually then adjust your position from 10th. But in the last cycle, in that 10th position into the medal race and ended up winning the European champs, I think, from memory. So then there was a few adjustments for that medal race, but now we're just down to that top out, which 8, which actually aligns with the International Olympic Committee's policy in finals racing to add to the drama, to getting just that top 8, and it works in a way better for the ladder up into the end from the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and then.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that's really important to note, actually, towards those 2028 Olympic Games, the overall kind of thought is to have all the sailing classes for that final day very similar, so it's easy to follow for all the spectators. Everyone can get involved, understand exactly what is happening. But personally, I think iQFOiL is one of the best to showcase sailing here.
Yeah, as far as the other sailing disciplines, definitely it's fast and furious. It's exciting. They're being innovative and trying different disciplines inside the course structures that are allowed through world sailing. But that top 8 actually makes sense as you think about it more. I know I'm actually a vice president of the International Surfing Association, and with the surfing, when you have your heats, you have 4 in the water at the time, and then the top 2 advance. And many of the sports like snowboard cross have a similar ladder system leading up into the finals, so it makes it easy for the public to understand how do we get our world championship. So for the days racing that we've had over this week, we've had 3 days of racing, and they're like heats to get our top 8. And now it is all on for these medal races with a ladder type format, a elimination ladder type format to meet the winners at the top.
But currently out on the course at the minute, we don't quite have suitable conditions to keep racing underway at the minute, so we have the AP flag up on the boat. AP flag means that there's just a little bit of postponement for one reason or another, and most likely the reason is just because of these switchy winds, isn't it?
That's right, the red and white flag.
Sweet, and then, so we have the AP flag at the minute, so a little bit of postponement, a little bit of time off. So in this time off, let's have a little walk around of what it was like in the boatyard, in the boat park for all the iQFOiL races. So currently here on the beach inside the Aarhus International Sailing Centre. Currently no wind, so we're seeing everyone getting ready, preparing for their races. So let's walk around and let's see who would like to talk to us and get a little bit of their thoughts here at the World Championships. First up, we can see Manolo Modena. What's going on here, Manolo?
Not much. The wind.
So currently here on the beach inside the Aarhus International Sailing Centre. Currently no wind, so we're seeing everyone getting ready, preparing for their races. So let's walk around and let's see who would like to talk to us and get a little bit of their thoughts here at the World Championships. First up, we can see Manolo Modena. What's going on here, Manolo?
Not much. The wind forecast for today doesn't look that optimistic, so I'm just taking the time that I have to, do some boat work, as they say, and yeah, just trying to not to waste that much energy, because as we saw yesterday, the races can happen even quite late during the day, so that's it.
And yeah, yesterday we all kind of finished at around 10 p.m. How was that for you, and have you done it that late before?
No, I was just speaking when I got back with Ritis, which has been racing for a long time, and we've both been in Marseille in 2021 to do the Europeans, where we had some quite late races happening where we were coming back ashore without the light. But nothing as late as yesterday's action. But yeah, it was definitely something different and cool. It was just a problem to relax afterwards because you still have the adrenaline rush from the racing happening. But yeah, it was definitely something different and new to experience.
Did you manage to relax? And so are you prepared for today as well?
Yeah, well, I haven't had the craziest of weeks in terms of results, but yeah, I'm just trying to muster all the energies that I have left for the final day.
So yeah, as well. Good luck with the rest of your board work and have fun.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, man. All right, so let's cruise around and find some more here in this facility. Thomas. What's going on, man? How are we doing? What are we looking on the phone at the minute?
We're just passing the time, doing nothing.
What counts as nothing? I saw you doing something there.
What am I doing? I was watching, I'll tell you what, I was watching like nonsense at LinkedIn. That's what I was doing.
Is that a good way to prepare for today?
I wouldn't say it's a good way, but it's not a bad way either. Like anything that keeps my mind going at the time works well for me.
Well, your mind must be going at the minute. You're having a really good week so far, no?
Yeah, I'm having a nice week. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to concentrate on having fun, mainly, and staying positive, and see how it works.
And you're having fun?
Yeah, a lot. I love this place so much. Like Denmark, I think it's one of the most impressive and amazing countries I've ever visited at.
Tell me one reason why it's one of the most impressive you visited.
The food.
The food, sweet. I think that's a great way to end it. What are you having for lunch?
Probably pasta. I cannot eat the Danish food before races. I will die.
But this evening?
Oh my God. Only pastries, I think.
Sweet. Well, enjoy those pastries. Cheers, Thomas.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day, everyone.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Great to hear some of the thoughts from the athletes, and Thomas just there. Thomas is racing in this quarterfinal coming up right now.
Let's hope he's had some Danish pastries.
Yeah.
And he will be ripping this course up because we know how delicious those Danish pastries are. Good on you, Thomas.
There we go.
Food of champions.
Food of champions.
Well, he was eating pasta, but that's very Italian, isn't it? So yeah, he can do both. But yeah,
Danish
food
pastries.
of champions.
Yeah, one thing that's really cool around here, there's lots of big food halls actually, and everyone's kind of goes there, and you can get all fancy types of food. It's amazing. So I'm sure some of them are stocked up to today. But yeah, this is the pinnacle moment of this whole competition for all of these athletes right now. This could be their last race. This could be the start of their medal series towards the World Championship title. Exactly. And this is the amazing thing about it, is that anyone racing today, anyone in this top 8 has a chance at getting that World Championship title.
Absolutely. So they're just coming down to the last 45 seconds or so, and that jibe that they've all just done as they take their lineup to the start line. This is where a lot of skill and judgment of that time to distance based on how much wind is blowing and whether there is a gust coming up over your shoulder. So there's a little bit of jostling that happens here as everyone's sort of like moving around to get which lane that they're going to go into. And then the time when they put the hammer down, sheet in, and start to send it usually starts in and around 10 seconds. So it's that judgment of time to distance and who's going to get it right.
Who will be getting it right, we'll be finding out very, very soon. 5 seconds to go until this quarterfinal for the men gets underway here at the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. And look at this, the power is on, the speed is on, and the action is on in this race. Up the top end, we can see Luc van Optieland, Netherlands 55, just behind him there, Tom Arnoux, France 152, and those two down that bottom end, Brazil 7, Matthias Isaac, and also Thomas Vardemont, Israel 30. Look at the speed here. It is full power towards this first reaching mark.
Yeah, that was a big move by Lucas as he actually rolled Thomas, the French guy coming in, and you could just see that he just put his bow down, sat down in his harness, and then just rolled it. And you can see that he's coming from that top end of the start line, where he's actually getting the gust first, which is giving him that advantage coming in to that first mark. Interestingly, he's jibed off first, so he must see something over his shoulder. But we know that, like from the last heat that we watched of the women's race, there are big lines of wind, there are big silver patches, and it's all about positioning yourself as you go downwind. And this is where it can be won and lost.
Certainly so. Let's hope Luke here did the right move on the screens at the minute. He actually rounded in first place at that top mark, only by a split second, but he did decide to take the other line compared to the others. So that's a huge risk, but with huge risk could come huge reward.
Absolutely. And so the other three, they're actually decided to jibe at about the same time with that gust in the background. If you look over their left shoulders, they'll be seeing that line of wind coming down, and that's the pressure that they want to get into. And the decision now, they'll be thinking, looking at the gate, I would be looking upwind, looking over my shoulder, looking upwind to see which side of the course has the most pressure. And that would be the side that I would be heading to as I come through the gate. So whether I was going to go left or right as you're approaching that gate.
And it looks like they're just about going into a bit of pressure here, that bit of darker water, and they will be speeding up a little bit now. On our screens at the minute, Thomas Vardemon is rail 30, and also Matthias Isaac, I think, in that second and third position. But Luke van Opsieland, we saw him jibe off early, and jibe off early was the right decision.
Absolutely. He's gone and got himself a fantastic lead coming down into that gate. He knew, he looked over his shoulder that I'm going to do a jibe set, which means that he comes around the mark and jibes instantly and uses it more of a jibing mark instead of a downwind mark. And that has paid off. And he's now gone out to the right-hand side of the course, knowing that he only has to put one tack in on this side. So as far as manoeuvres go, you do less manoeuvres, therefore you have better speed. But it will all depend on those gusts that are coming down the course.
Here we are, Luke van Opsieland, 26 years of age, average event finish 4th. That's not too shabby. Highest event finish 1st. He was also the 2024 bronze medalist. Events entered 7. I think he's done a lot of events in his whole career. And look at that tack.
Pulled off a foiling tack in this breeze, which is spectacular. You know, he deserves to be here, and he is hungry for that wind so he can get through into the semi-finals.
He's pumping hard.
He is pumping hard. That foil tack was absolutely spectacular. The guy is not little. For those that have seen him around those that have not seen him in real person, he's a giant. And foil tacking in this amount of wind, and with his giant status, it's not an easy task.
No, not
so you get one
task.
foot wrong, and woo, the board falls away. So he's done an amazing job of positioning, and also keeping that top mark in sight and keeping an eye on sight of those gusts that are coming down.
But very interesting to look at the speeds here. Remember, they're going upwind, so it's almost the slowest point of sail here, but around that kind of 10 knots, or it's pretty light here, almost 20 knots of speed.
Wow. And as you can see, this is really interesting with the two sailors that went out to the left-hand side of the course. They may have stayed in the pressure a little bit longer and on a very good angle coming back as they meet Luke coming back. Wow. This could be, this will be
a defining moment.
A defining moment in this race.
It certainly will be. Extremely exciting, and it's looking like Matthias Isaac has actually crossed Luke van Opsieland. How is his tack? Another extremely epic tack straight back up on the foil, and Matthias Isaac, it looks as if he has now snatched the lead off of Luke van Opsieland. He's put himself in a qualifying position into that semi-final, then both jibing off, and look, it is extremely light, but they are working themselves to the absolute max. This is where the moments are the most important, but they're straight back up on the foil.
They are. Wow, that was exciting. That was a really exciting manoeuvre as they were coming into that mark together, and they both decided to do a jibe set to stay in that gust. And when that happens, both of them pumping is creating a lot of disturbed air. And in these very light conditions, you want to be not doing so many manoeuvres to try and keep the board going through the water and to stay on that foil.
But
So,
it's looking
wow,
like
this
they
is
got
a
it.
great game of chess that we're watching here.
This is awesome. You know, we saw from that previous women's quarterfinal that there was a lot of switching around, and there is certainly a lot more switching around. Look at this. It's looking like maybe Tom Arnoux has come straight back into the game as well. Matthias Isaac, unfortunately, just dropping outside of that top two now. Both Luc van Opsieland and Tom Arnoux now in those qualifying positions.
Wow, you couldn't write a script more exciting than this. How are we going to keep up? It's amazing.
No way,
Just,
Tom Arnoux. He's come into
wow.
the lead now. 18 knots of bore speed, 19 now towards this bottom gate. He has had an amazing competition so far this week. He was leading at one point, just dropped out a little bit further down. But now he is showing that he has what it takes to be right at the top of a world championship for iQFOiL here.
So this racing, I would say, today with these conditions, you are going to be sailing. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Sail your race according to those gusts.
Oh, he's looking like it's...
Wow.
Has he made it?
This is he just made it through that gate, and Luke has just fallen off the
Luke's
foil.
just dropped off.
And now we have, look at this. This really is another defining moment in this in the semi-final.
Matthias Isaac coming through,
and if he can stay
needle.
no,
moly.
he's still up.
Matthias
Wow.
Isaac is now up as
man.
well. Thomas Vardemore now coming through as well.
will be livid.
Oh, what a huge loss from Luc van Opsieland there,
man,
unfortunately.
he will be. I'd like to hear the language that's coming out of his mouth right now. Boy.
But some language
you might have
that
to have
will
a lot of beats happening with that. We had a sound happening with that one. But wow, look at that.
Some amazing language coming out of Tom Arnoux's mouth, though. Look at this. He has gone and taken the lead. Hand is up. He is stoked. He has banked himself a spot inside of that semi-final. Holy moly.
What a race. What a race that was. The lead changed, 4 or 5 times in that particular race.
Insane.
Really fantastic. This is exciting. And what I love about it is that it's not over.
Certainly not over. Matthias Isaac here, he was outside of that top two, but no, he comes towards the finish as well in second place. He also banks himself a spot in that semi-final. What a race. Tom Arnoux, Matthias Isaac, now inside of the semi-final.
Wow, and as we watch the replay, this whatever happened at the start really didn't matter at the end of this particular heat, but they had great breeze at the start, and you can see Luke from Luca from the top of the screen really had great speed and was able to roll right over the top of all of them to get to that top reach mark first. And that's where he did his jibe set, and he jibed off from the other two because he obviously looked over his shoulder to see that pressure, and then the others followed a little bit later. But that gave Luke a really good lead, but unfortunately, as we saw when he got to that gate, he went out to the right hand side of that of the course, and if you follow, you're not going to pass. And
that's it.
To the left hand side.
And we just see Matthias Isaac go off onto the other side of the screen, the only one to do that. And what a decision that was. There's Thomas Vardemore also putting in his tack, trying to attack those top two positions. And there's Matthias Isaac. Absolute epic move there. Every single maneuver throughout this race for each and every one of these riders was so important just to stay up on the foil, to keep the speed. Unfortunately, Luke not managing to stay up on the foil there, allowing Matthias Isaac and also Thomas Vardemore to come through. And there it is, Tom Arnoux.
He's
coming through.
Fist up, and he's through now to that semi-finals, and obviously very happy and well raced. Well raced. If you look up on the screen in the top, you'll see those gusts coming down, and those are the gold moments. Those what you want to be heading for in this racing. And the speeds of these boards really helps to get to those gusts of where you want to do. But that pumping, and Luca just ran out of a bit of steam in that last little bit, a little bit of pressure.
Unfortunately so.
And that was it. So
that's it. Yeah, the angles
through.
can all change. Yeah. And here we are back to the medal series for the women. We are now on to the semi-final for the iQFOiL World Championships for the women coming up. However, on the boat, we have AP flag shown. That is the red and white triangular flag flying up on the boat. That signifies that we have a bit of postponement, a bit of waiting for one reason or another. Most likely it will be due to wind conditions being very shifty, very gusty. So we need to, the race committee need to ensure that the course is set up correctly.
That's right, and it's a good call for the race committee to wait. I know that the wind here, after being here for a little while, it comes through in waves. So you'll look up wind and you see the dark patches come through, and they'll last for 2 or 3 minutes, and then there'll be a soft period until the next gusts come through. So the race committee is pretty smart, waiting until they see a nice steady wind right across the course to make it as fair as possible. As you can in these conditions, but we're playing with Mother Nature. No one can control Mother Nature, and that is what the beauty is of sailing.
Exactly.
So yes, you're racing against your other competitors, but actually you're racing against Mother Nature. You're playing chess with Mother Nature. That's how I would describe it. And so really, if it was me doing this medal race, I would be racing the gusts. I'd be playing snakes and ladders with those gusts and not worrying about where anyone else is, looking where I would want to go on that course and sailing my race according to the wind on the water.
Do you think these riders out here are doing that perfectly?
Well, if you win, you've done it perfectly, isn't
exactly.
it?
Well, I was about to say, I don't think it's actually possible to do it perfect, isn't it? That's
I don't think there is a perfect race, to be honest.
Yeah.
In my career, that was sort of like the aim was like, how do you sail a perfect race? And, what is perfect? That's the big question,
Exactly.
And even if you win, sometimes it doesn't feel like you did it absolutely perfect. Every tack, every jibe, every start, the settings on your rig, the settings on your foils, as we know that's quite technical nowadays. And it's been, for me, it's been such a great journey of learning about the foils and about the intricacies of those foils and the rakes that they put the mast on, and then the differential between your front foil at the front of the foil, this is underneath the water, and the back foil, and how you choose what you're going to use for each of the conditions out there. And that is the game as well.
Yeah, there's so much to it. I mean, here at the iQFOiL class, we use a one design equipment, meaning that everyone is on exactly the same equipment, which makes it all down to the rider, which is really exciting. And also, it all looks very similar, which looks really cool on the water as well. So for the sails, the women, they use 7.3 meter squared sails. For the men, they use slightly bigger 8 meter squared sails. And this is a hydrofoiling windsurfer. So what that means is that the riders have a hydrofoil under their board, and that lifts them out of the water. Effectively an aeroplane for the water under their boards. That allows for super high speeds because there is extremely low drag. It also makes for some exciting racing as well, because these riders are a meter above the water, flying at insane speeds, all extremely close together. This is an extreme sport if you've ever seen one.
It sure is, but we're probably not seeing the upper end. If you look at it from a scale, we're not seeing the upper end of extreme as far as the speeds that they're going. But we're seeing really the upper end of tactics. For me, this is yacht racing out here. Yes, they're going fast, but it's actually you've got to be sailing very, very fast with your head out of the boat. So here we're looking at the series. We've got Maya, Daniela, Margot, and going through. Into our next heat. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong place. My bad. That's a rookie mistake.
Oh,
you take it over, Rafferty. You take it over. I like being a beginner at this.
Oh, good. Yeah. So this is the medal series for the women, where we currently are in the overall standings. So we did have that quarterfinal where we had Norway, Israel, Croatia, and Poland. Daniela Peleg from Israel and Maya Gisler from Norway managed to make it through in those top spots. Then into the semi-final, they will be joining Sharon Cantor and Teresa Steinlein. Again, 4 riders inside of that semi-final, and the same thing again. The top 2 riders within this semi-final make it through to that grand final.
Yeah, and looking at the screen right now as we're looking upwind, we actually look like we've got quite a good breeze coming down, and so they're still displaying the postponement flag, which is the red and white striped flag. It's a bit like a Where's Wally flag at the bottom of the,
There we go.
of the boat, but maybe a candy stick. That's the one. When that goes down, there'll be 1 minute until. Usually a 1 minute until they put the 3-minute flag up for these girls to start the semi-final.
Yeah, so we got a bit of confirmation of the reason for the postponement at the minute. The wind has slightly shifted round in direction, meaning that the race committee now have to change the locations of the marks, which make the race course out here on the water. As soon as that is finished and they are in the correct positions, then we can get underway with the racing once again. And look at that, the AP flag is now down. We are in the final moments until the semi-final for the women of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships goes ahead.
Pretty exciting stuff out there, as we like this is the and I'd imagine that the two girls sitting at the top of the ladder right now will be learning a lot, looking and learning. Their coaches will be sitting with them, talking through the process, talking them through, the decision making them feel calm. I know that my coach used to make me laugh. I knew that I was a much better sailor when I was laughing.
Oh wow, amazing.
And that's, it depends on what style of coaching that you like or what style of coach you are, really understanding the athlete that you're working with and what motivates them and what drives them and what puts them into that really great place where they feel alive and feel excited to race. So that's the game of a coach as well, not just a technical coach, but it's someone that can actually really help your athlete, get into that mind space so they're excited about, let's go, we want it, let's do this, instead of go, oh no, I don't want to race. So it's a game. It's not just a speed game. It's a mind game.
Certainly is a mind game. Yeah, that's one thing that all these riders, the vast majority of the riders here, are lucky enough to have their coach boats. They have coaches for them, and also these ribs outside, allowing them to have a little rest, a little break, a little fuel up, and as you said, a little talk to get into that mental frame of mind. It's great to hear that you race best when you were laughing. I race best too when I'm like steezing out, loving life.
Yeah.
Maybe getting in that fun mentality the day before and then ready for that racing. And I'm sure that will be the same for a lot of these riders out here. Maybe some changes as well, but I'm a strong believer that if you have fun in doing something, you do well at it.
Yeah, there's a lot of research gone into that actually, Rafferty.
Yeah.
So when you start to look into, what state do you need it to be into to do your best, and most people say happiness, love, joy, excitement, because they're really high vibrational energy feelings,
Amazing.
which then runs through your body, which gives you the edge when you go racing.
That's it.
So I've just given you a whole lot of gold here from those listeners that are out there. You've just been given a whole lot of gold from someone that's done a lot of racing. But yeah, that's the game, and it really is just a game. And that's the other thing you've got to keep in perspective when you're doing this. Yes, it means a lot when you're stuck in this bubble of professional racing and Olympic racing and being a high performance athlete. But it is a game of how you can be your best, and that really what does best look like for you. So, and even if you made it to the World Championships, big ups to all of you that actually competed this last week in Aarhus.
It is absolutely epic. Anyone who was out here racing, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. I mean, this has been a really important competition for the vast majority of these riders. Well, actually, all the riders, but of course, some riders more important than others. But just to be here is a huge achievement in itself. So huge congrats to all the riders. Thank you all for all the organisers who made this competition possible. And we are now getting underway with the semi-final. And now we have a little AP flag up on the boat again. Just a little bit of postponement.
Yeah, that was you could see what happened is the girls jibed for their last run to the start line. The wind dropped and a couple of them fell right off the foil and couldn't get up on the foil, and that doesn't make a fair start. So it's good on the race committee for putting that postponement flag back up to make sure that it is a fair start, and we have the girls foiling moving into the start line. So yeah, we've got the Where's Wally flag up again.
That's
and
it.
Wait until they get wind right across the start line. So this is also a mental game, you know, when you amping yourself up, ready to do a race, you've lined yourself up, judged where you're going to jibe to get in positioning for that start line, then not again, another postponement.
Right.
So it's a roller coaster game, and whoever buckles himself into that roller coaster and is able to stay calm usually comes out gold.
That's it. He's a huge mental game as well as well as steezing out, shredding on the water. But that's one thing that's really, really cool about this class as well, and windsurfing as a whole. You know, all these people are here, not just the riders. It's all the race committee. It's all the coaches. It's everyone involved. Everyone loves windsurfing, and that's one thing that I think is really cool. You know, once you start windsurfing, of course, maybe not the easiest thing to get into straight away compared to, let's say, maybe like football. Of course, it's a slightly harder to get into, but once you get there, you have that session on holiday, you have that steezing out, you get that buzz of the speed of nature, you're hooked. And I know that I'm hooked for life now. Have you been hooked for life?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a very dangerous sport, because once you do it, you just want to do more of it, and you want to do it more and more and more and more and more and more. And you know, I tried windsurfing for the first time when I was about 16. Well, I was 16 years old, and I'd come through sailing small boats, so the junior classes in small boat, and I was a pretty good sailor in the small boats. And when windsurfing came around, and we're talking sort of like mid-80s, so I'm showing my age here now, but I jumped on a windsurfer for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much nicer standing up than sitting down.
Wow, yeah.
And you can see so much more. You know, you can see the wind, and you can dance around this board, and you can flap the sail, and you can start to do tricks. And I was hooked. And then I was just like, Mum, I don't want to go to university. I want to go to the school of sailing, you know, the University of Windsurfing. And that's pretty much what I did for 25 years after that. You know, as the pathways became clearer on what type of windsurfing you want to do. But yes, I was definitely addicted for quite a few years. My addictions waned a little bit, but yeah, it was a fantastic way to spend, you know, those 25 years of my life.
Epic. That's so awesome to hear, and be really interesting to hear some of your thoughts about the evolution of windsurfing. I know back a while ago, it was those displacement boards, the Lechner's in the Olympics. Then it moved to planing boards with the Mr. R1 design, also the RSX, and now we're on hydrofoiling. How has that evolution sat with you? Do you like it? Is it a good evolution?
Well, actually, I'll take you right back to the beginning. Buckle yourselves in for a little story.
Oh, yeah.
So the first ever, for those that have been around long enough as I have, Olympics, windsurfing was put into the Olympics for the first time in 1984 in Los Angeles. So it's pretty cool that we're going back to Los Angeles in 2028, and the evolution since then until now is quite remarkable. So in the first Olympics in 1984, it was on a wind glider, which was it was half a displacement board, which meant it had a slightly curved bottom, but the back end of it was flat. And it was only men, and they weren't allowed to wear harnesses.
Wow.
Which is really, can you imagine, for those that do windsurf, not being able to wear a harness? And they had 6.5 meter rigs. They were flappy sails. They weren't fully battened. Heavy booms, heavy masts, and the guys were like monkey men. You know, their hands were one big callus from hanging onto these booms to get around a course in Los Angeles. So that was the first ever games, and it was only men. And then in 1988, they changed it to the Lechner, which was a full displacement board. It's a bit like a canoe, a bit like the stand-up paddles boards that you see them racing on now that are rounded on the bottom, and they were very, very tippy and quite tricky to sail, but amazingly fun to sail when it was around 4 to 10 knots. And they jibed really well. So for those that remember sailing the Lechner, there was a really sweet spot when you got on it and we were going downwind and you jibed it. You could find the sweet spot where it just carved around, and you could just pop out of your jibe with more speed than you went into it.
Wow,
so this is back in 1988, and the Olympics in 1988 was just men again, and it was raced in Seoul, in Korea. And it was a very, very windy regatta, and they had a typhoon come down. So it was they had a bit on back then.
Must have been fruity.
It was, and the rigs, they could wear harnesses, but there was no pumping. You weren't allowed to pump, which was
different.
Which was different.
Yeah.
And then Barcelona, they kept the same board, the Lechner board, in 2000 for 1992, and they introduced women. So that was the first Olympics in Barcelona in 1992, and we raced on the Lechner board, men and women together, the same board from there. So that was the evolution. And then roll on 1996.
But you did all right in that Olympics,
so yeah, that's where I won the gold medal.
Yeah,
so I was
there we go.
Yeah, I was the Olympic champion, first Olympic champion for female
Amazing.
and windsurfing from that Olympic Games.
Congratulations. Yeah.
From there, they changed the board to the Mistral 1 design. So more of a flat bottom board with foot straps. And it looks like now we might have to continue that story another day. But they
hold it. On the Mistral 1 design, just started that one. Yeah, let's hold it there,
that's right. And they introduced pumping, so we really became athletes after that.
Right.
So the Mistral 1 design then stayed. We raced in Atlanta in 1996, and then in 2000 and 2004. So 2000 was Sydney, 2004 was Athens. Men and women all on Mistral 1 design, all on the same equipment.
Yeah.
So the guys and girls all trained together, which was fantastic.
Wow.
We had 7.3 metre sails.
Yep.
Then it moved on to the RSX for 2008, brand new board, racing on the fin. So that was the first sort of planing racing that we did back in 2008, and the RSX was the board right up into Tokyo, into 2021, and then now we've got this the foiling, and that's what's happened to our sport. So it's amazing. You know, I sometimes wish I could do it all again to experience this foiling. It's a different format, it's a different type of sailing, but super, super fun. And it's actually reinvigorated our sport for the young people. You know, all the kids that I meet, all they want to do is go foiling now. So it's fantastic that we've got this.
Awesome. That's so cool.
So there's a little
hear.
history for you.
No, it's amazing. You know, I think a lot of people don't know I mean, even a lot of the racers don't know the big history of windsurfing and what it has, but it's really amazing to hear, and just the evolution. It's awesome, you know, back from, as you said, kind of the wing glider, and then the canoe boards, and now we're on foiling, flying windsurfers.
Absolutely. And you know what's great, I was really fortunate that I went to 5 Olympic Games and got to experience, you know, the Lechner, the Mistral, the RSX, but I didn't get to do the foiling, but that's okay. So, you know, it's great to live vicariously through all these young women that are on the water right now, and there's some really cool, talented, amazing women that are sailing these foiling equipment now, and we've got 4 of them on the water today.
It's
and
epic.
about to start in this heat. Oh, the AP flag's gone up.
Indeed. So I think another little bit of postponement, just due to the wind conditions, not quite having suitable conditions to get the racing out on the water. But there we go. The AP is straight back down. No messing around. They did that just to move the pin to make sure the start is set correctly. The start of the race course here for the semi-final for the women in the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. It's quite up and down at the minute, isn't it, Barbara?
It is. It seems like the wind is shifting a little bit as those gusts come through and the day warms up. So what happens with weather when it's warm out there, and it's actually really warm today. I'm in a singlet today and a little bit sweaty, whereas other days it's been like I've been in a sweatshirt most of the time. So today is warm, and that really, really plays around with wind direction and wind strength. So the race committee's doing a really good job of being agile and moving the course as quickly as they can and getting these races away as quickly as they can to get this medal series on the way.
Indeed, racing will be commencing very soon. We are now in the last 3 minutes, but great to see the race committee on there. Ava doing a great job. Carolina Guillet all on the boat there with the rest of the race crew. Doing a great job so far. They've done an awesome job so far this week, getting the max amount of racing we possibly can. And now we are getting underway with the medal series. We've already had the quarterfinal and both quarterfinals for the women and the men. Now we're on to the semi-final for the women. Now remember, in this we have 4 riders. We have Daniela Peleg, we have Maya Gisler, we have Teresa Steinlein, and we also also have Sharon Cantor. 4 races within this semi-final. Only the top 2 make it through to the grand final. It doesn't matter where they finish inside of that top 2. Just have to be in that top 2.
Yeah, the top 2, they get it to advance and keep their dreams alive. And the bottom 2, well done to you anyway. You know, you're still within that top 6 at a World Championships in 2025. You know, big shout out to this race committee. They've done a fantastic job, you know, and most of them are probably volunteers. And really big shout out to the whole crew in Aarhus for the amazing job that you have done in feeding all the volunteers, laying these courses out there every day, doing the best job that you possibly can. And, you know, this is different to sailing. So learning the different formats for our class and being very class specific, you've done an incredible job.
Certainly have. And I think what's so amazing as well, that all of everyone that I've talked to so far has had a good week, which is so awesome to hear. A huge thank you to everyone. But that's windsurfing. That's iQFOiling. You know, the vibe here is just awesome. It's a festival vibe. Everyone's here to have a good time, and enjoy the sport.
It's a family vibe, you know, that it's always been, that's one of the reasons why I've loved windsurfing, is that it's always been an amazing family with a common interest of wanting to blast across the water. So we're in the final 30, coming into the start line for this semi-finals.
They're slowing up quite a lot, aren't they?
The wind's looking good, actually. The wind's looking like good pressure on the wind.
Big gust at the minute. Big gust at the minute. At that bottom, Germany 799, Theresa Steinlein wearing that red bib. Currently coming in today in that 3rd place overall. Just above her, Maja Gisler from Norway. We also have Sharon Cantor and Daniela Peleg. But now they are putting on the gas. They are sheeting in all the way. And off they go. Start underway for the semi-final here on the final day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships.
Oh, and we have a general recall. So these girls are keen to get that race away and a little bit too keen. So I would say now, do they go, is that a black flag where whoever was over is out?
So what happens here is actually we have the 5-second rule here. So whoever was over the start, they are then pulled back and they start 5 seconds later.
Okay, so that's a new rule that I wasn't aware of in this new class. And I'm thinking that it's probably one of the Israeli sailors out the front.
Could be Sharon Cantor.
Yeah, should be Karen, just jumping that gun a little bit there.
Or it could be more.
But you know, in today, what's amazing about today's sailing is that 5-second rule. If we have gusty conditions like we've had in the last 2 heats, it won't matter. You know, if you sail smart and sail in these dark, the wind, stay in the wind gusts, who knows?
Look at that. Oh, look at that tack there. That's a mega holy moly right there.
Absolutely. These girls have got so good, and that's one of the things that has been really impressive, actually, in both the men and the women's fleet, how close the scores are.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see that start. Yes, it looks like it might have been Sharon over in that start. But, you know, it's been fabulous racing and how good these girls are. I mean, you could have one race where you win it, and then the next race you could be 20th. And that shows real deep depth in a fleet here nowadays. You know, it's fantastic.
And also how high the level is on all these riders. Of course, it's the conditions, but also, you know, one mistake can cost you that 20 places or so. It's huge. But there we go. On the whiteboard now, just trying to make it out who was over the start. We'll be finding out very, very soon. Can't quite make out who it was.
No, it's the light's not so good on the whiteboard today, and I don't have my glasses on today, Rafferty.
Oh, no.
That's another old person's... Oh, there we go. Norway 21, Israel 300.
Three.
Three of them. Wow.
Holy moly.
Wow.
Now that is a
Theresa,
bit of a...
wow, that's a different game. There we go. And I was thinking, Theresa obviously didn't get her run right to the start line because she was a little back from the other 3 girls. But no, she was right on.
Yeah.
Well done, Theresa, for gauging that and not running with the pack.
And
really
now,
well done.
Now she's almost, rather than one person hanging back, she's got effectively a head start.
Absolute. Wow.
Compared to all the other riders.
Wow, that's amazing. Haven't seen that often, have we?
No, all 3 riders Maya Gisler just jumping the start there. Daniela Peleg and also Sharon Cantor just jumping the start there, showing how hard each and every one of these riders are pushing it. But who pushed it well in that, not jumping the start? Teresa Steinlein. Now she has a 5-second head start towards the rest of the riders. Not head start, it's just that the other 3 riders now have a 5-second penalty.
Okay, so how do they gauge that 5-second penalty? How does that work? I wouldn't know. That's because how far is 5 seconds and when do they let them go? Do they put another flag up or how does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, so it's going to be tricky for these riders because usually they have they go on the go. It's always the go. But having this 5 seconds is something quite different for each and every one of these riders. Something that's only in place in these medal races. This happens because we want to make sure that each of these finals happens. We don't want to have this scenario where everyone's over the start and then nothing happens. So with this way, everyone can still stay in the race. And from what we've seen before, it's 5 seconds is not a lot. Well, it is a lot, but in these conditions, anything can happen. One decision can make 15 seconds of ground, 20 seconds of ground. So, of course, 5 seconds is a very, very big penalty, which is, I was going to say deserved. That sounds a bit harsh, but, if you're over the start, you need a penalty for that. 5 seconds over, and Teresa, who made it well, she is she can go on the go. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in this race.
And, if there was steady wind across the course, and it was just sort of like a black and white type race. In theory, Teresa should win because 5 seconds is,
exactly.
It's a fair distance. That's like 50 meters or so.
When they're traveling 20 knots.
When they're training fast, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm not so good at the math. Those guys that are good at maths out there, I'm sure you can work out the actually speed on distance from that. But the conditions, as we've seen from those last 2 heats, I wouldn't put money on anything. If you were a betting person, I wouldn't be putting money on anything today. So we're down into the last minute and a half coming in with Teresa having that advantage in this particular start. So if she starts on the line, she could actually probably be a tiny bit safe in this one to ensure that she doesn't go over as well, and get that advantage from in this particular race. It's going to be interesting to see how it rolls out. We're pretty excited here in the studio.
Yeah, I'm all steezed out. It is Stokeville going on here. It's epic action out here, which is really exciting. We've seen so much mixing around. I'm sure we're going to see some more mixing around in here. At the minute, it's looking pretty light. In the background, we've got some darker spots out there, meaning that there is a bit more wind. It's coming. But at the minute, it's very light. So these riders need to make sure that they stay up on the foil. They maximize the amount of power that they get in their sails, transfer that through their body into the board, and ultimately giving speed and lift onto that hydrofoil. Teresa Steinlein certainly putting in the jibe a lot earlier to the rest. And this is one thing that's quite tricky about these starts in these light winds. You do not want to drop off the foil, because dropping off the foil, you're on the risk of not being able to get back up on the foil.
Absolutely. We can see here that one of the Israeli girls, it's not clear in the numbers here, has fallen off the foil as she jibed within the silvery patch of wind. But the other 3 are up on the foil, so the race should still go ahead. So Teresa, she's about to start, and off she goes, and then we should start to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now the other girls. So that's not, we've seen that distance being taken
it's significant.
Over. Yeah,
it is
significant, but we've also seen it decrease pretty quickly in these conditions.
Exactly. But this is one thing that makes a difference between a good start and a bad start. Teresa, obviously, she has that 5-second lead at the minute. But just behind her, Maya Gisler, and also that is Daniela Peleg. They started at the same time. However, Maya Gisler got the much better start there and now leads by several board lengths already. And unfortunately, Sharon Cantor.
Sharon Cantor. She's been such a consistent sailor in these races over this week, and she was wearing the gold bib earlier on in the regatta. So that she'll be highly disappointed with the win. But you know what? She's got to keep going. She's got to do this race just in case a light patch does come in and she's able to bring that wind from behind to catch up to the other girls. But it's going to be a hard call. That's a hard task. And
Certainly.
as we can see from the speeds from these girls right now, that it's going to be pretty hard for her to pull that advantage in that Teresa's got.
But the wind is now coming down for their downwind leg here. The fight for second place is very much on. Maya Gisler and Daniela Peleg fighting it out for that second place position. Remember, it is only the top two that make it through into that grand final. So Teresa, at the minute, she's got about 90 metres, 100 metres of lead here at the minute. It's looking like it might be dropping a little bit, though, as the other riders, and look at this, this is the fight for that second place. Daniela Peleg and Maya Gisler. Here is that bottom mark rounding. Daniela Peleg deciding to jibe off.
Wow, that was so Teresa's taken the safe way of going out to that right-hand side where she only has to do one tack if she gets the ley line right, and she looks like she's in very good pressure there. So it's probably a good move for her to be heading out to that side. But we saw Luca do the same sort of thing, and the wind died as he was going out to that right, looked over his shoulder and saw Matteo coming out of that left-hand side and ended up, not making it through to the top two. So it's all about that decision-making, a little bit of luck, a little bit of good management. But Teresa's looking pretty sweet here right now.
Yeah, she's cruising out. She is just defending her lead in this race at the minute. Remember, she did start with that 5-second lead towards the rest of the riders, and she's certainly held that 5 seconds at the minute. She's looking comfortable. However, what's not looking very comfortable is the fight for second and third place. Well, the fight for second place, because it is whoever comes in second place overall gets that spot inside of that grand final. So it is all gas on that second place. Remember, Maya Gisler went out onto the other side of the course. Will she be able to come back at that top mark in second place? We'll find out very, very soon. But Daniela Peleg just behind Teresa Steinlein at the minute. Teresa, having a look back, where is her next point of defence? How is her tack? It's looking like a fully plating tack. Is she straight back up on the foil? She is working it hard, and she is.
You could see her when she was going just before that tack. She bared away to get maximum speed on her board, to give her the speed to round up. So when you pop through out the side, it's much easier to pop up and from that tack. So that was a pretty good safe tack, because sometimes if you do the foiling tacks and you're masterful at them, they can actually go pretty wrong horribly for you. So that was a nice safe tack, and you can see that she's pumping and pumping to get the maximum out of her foil, to give her that lift to make that ley line for the top mark.
Holy moly.
Wow, here we're seeing it again.
Here is a big moment. It's looking like Maya Gisler has now snatched the lead of Teresa Steinlein. What a move that was. She decided to go out onto the other side of the course. A huge risk, but that huge risk now gave her huge reward.
And we saw exactly the same thing happen in the men's heat beforehand. Coming out of that left-hand side, there must be a little bit more pressure, a little bit more lines coming out through there. And even though you have to do that double tack, it obviously was the right decision, because now Maya, our favourite Norwegian, she's a wonderful girl. She's only 18. So, that's pretty young for being, so consistent. So we've actually got 3 under 23-year-olds in this particular race, with Daniela, Sharon and Maya in this race. 3 under 23s in this race. That's pretty amazing.
It is epic.
So these girls, like I said, this new generation of young athletes that are coming through in the iQFOiL class are really, really outstanding.
Fighting manoeuvre from Teresa Steinlein there. She's definitely made up her distance a little bit, actually. We saw at the top that Maya Gisler had a very commencing lead straight away. And Teresa Steinlein is coming back a bit, but remember, it is only the top 2 that go through to that grand final. Doesn't matter where these riders finish inside that top 2, it just has to be inside that top 2.
And so this final jibe will be crucial to making sure that they're staying on the foil and Maya's actually beautifully positioned herself for that jibe with uttermost confidence, threw it around,
and off
she
goes.
will be pumped. She will be so happy to get over the start line. I was actually talking to her earlier, and she's just such a happy, relaxed young woman, and really great to see her coming out with a win that she will advance through into that final of 4.
Indeed.
To meet the top 2, Tamar and Emma Wilson.
Exactly.
So she's booked herself a ticket for that final.
Well,
and a
almost
chance.
coming towards the finish now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Getting
For
there,
me, it's
getting
like
there.
kind of done now.
Yeah, so there we have
There
it.
we have it.
Towards the finish, Maya Gisler, hand is up. She is happy. She has won the semi-final. She has a spot inside of that grand final now. An amazing race from her, closely followed by Teresa Steinlein. They have now made their spots inside of that grand final. A amazing show of athleticism there, wasn't it?
It was. And, I really take my head off to Maya, just, splitting tacks. The other 2 girls went around that right-hand side. She decided, no, if I follow, I'm not going to pass them. I'm going to go out to the left hand, roll the dice, go out to that left-hand side. It paid off for the men. I'm going to go there and look at that. She made huge gains going out that left-hand side of the course. So
Awesome
from
stuff.
that race, unfortunately, both the Israeli girls now have to settle for 5th and 6th in the World Championships.
Indeed.
That's not bad. I'd be pretty happy if I got 5th or 6th in the World Champs.
Certainly, I would be as well. A huge, amazing performance from both Sharon Kandor and Daniela Peleg, finishing 3rd and 4th inside of that semi-final. But moving on to that grand final, we now have all 4 spots confirmed. Maya
exciting.
Gisler. Yeah, Maya Gisler winning that semi-final, and Teresa Steinlein. Now, inside of that grand final, they will be joining Tamar Steinberg and Emma Wilson.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. So Emma's looking pretty sweet up the top there with 1 win already under her belt. So all she has to do is win 1 more race.
Indeed.
Boom. Job
Boom.
done. Tamar, she has to win 1.5. So she has a little advantage over the other 2 that are coming through with 0 points. So it's going to be, a battle of our greats for this particular World Championships.
Exactly. But this is a great shot of the water here in Aarhus, Denmark at the minute, really showing what the conditions are like. Remember, where the dark spots are on the water, that is more wind. Where it's lighter, there is less wind. And we can see some very distinct lines coming down on this water, just showing how gusty this wind is. Will the riders on the water be able to see these streaks coming down the water, do you think, Barbara?
Yes. I used to be able to. That's the beauty. What I loved about windsurfing is that you could stand up and look around you and you can see quite a long way upwind. So they will, and it's flat water too. So it's very easy to see the lines, the dark winds. It's not, but sometimes when you have waves, it can be a little distracting and you may not be able to, whether it's wave or a wind or whatever, but it's very easy to read actually, to be honest. Unless obviously you're short-sighted. or long-sighted or whatever it may be.
I suppose so. Then you might have a bit more hard trouble when you're doing that. But yeah, that's it. That is one thing. But these riders have to measure this throughout the race. It's not just at the start that we're seeing it. It's throughout the race. Where is those spots?
So there's the unfortunate situation that Sharon found herself in when she went to do her last jibe to coming into the start line. The wind died. She fell off the foil and found it very difficult to get up. And that's pretty much sayonara, goodbye. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Really feeling for her right now because she's a lovely girl, great little sailor. And Teresa sailed the best race that she could. She had a great advantage with her 5-second lead from that OCS with 3 sailors going over. We don't see that very often in the girls, actually, so that was pretty impressive. Girls pushing the line, pushing those boundaries.
That's it. And here was that moment where, Maya took the lead. She did all the way towards the end, winning that semi-final here for the last day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championship. She's stoked. She's happy. The hands are up. She is ready for that grand final. But now, moving swiftly on to the men's quarterfinal. semi-final, sorry, coming up very,
Yeah.
very soon.
So 2 of these sailors will be advancing through to the final. And I bet they're pumped, ready to go. You know, we've got a mixture of nations here, which is great. We've got 2 French, haven't we, in this one?
Indeed,
yes,
indeed.
We have Nicolas Gouillard, Matteo, Kieran.
Indeed, yeah, Kieran and Tom Arnaud.
There we
Tom
go.
Arnaud, yeah. So we have all riders within here. Remember, it is only 4 riders within this semi-final, so it's going to be really exciting following exactly what happens within this race. It's going to be easy to follow what happens, and going to be exciting, exhilarating to see what happens. So yes, we have Matthias Isaac, Brazil 7. We have Tom Arnaud, France 152. Nicolas Gouillard, France 465. And Kieran Badlow, Netherlands 7.
Okay, and so for those that are wondering, how do these sailors, what do they use to help them with their timing? Most of the sailors actually wear quite a big watch that sits on their arm, and it has very big numbers on. And you hang around the back of the boat waiting for the flag to go up, so you push your button on your big watch that's on your arm at the same time as that flag goes up, which gives you your timing. And then many of these sailors, one of the things that you do is test your run-up of how you're going to where you're going to jibe and how far you go one way, how far you go the other way before you get to your final jibe to come through until that start line. There's no GPS trackers. These sailors don't have any GPS trackers like what the America's Cup do or the Sail GP. That's purely from their judgment, from the timing on their watch that's attached to their arm, and all it is a countdown watch that gives you a sound after every minute, and then the last minute you get a 30-second, and every 10 seconds after that, and then a countdown for the last 10 seconds, so you can actually listen to that timer as well. So getting that accuracy is incredibly important. These guys look like they've got quite good breeze leading up into this next start, which is a good sign, and hopefully they get away clean and we get to see this next race.
Indeed. Hopefully no more APs, and it's looking like it is an AP as soon as I say that. But there we go. A little more postponement just due to the conditions not quite being stable enough, but as soon as it is, we will get underway, making sure that we only race in suitable conditions, so we have a good championship. But yeah, it's looking pretty sketch out here in Aarhus, Denmark. But it's making for some really exciting and tactical racing. And going over to the YouTube and Facebook and socials, make sure you check out all the socials, the Instagram, to follow all the live updates exactly as they happen. But make sure you stay glued to the live stream, as this is as live as it gets. Also check out the website for future competitions, all the results live up to date, and also we are make the biggest thing as well. Make sure you share this around. Show all your mates how exciting this racing is at the minute. The World Championships for the iQFOiL in 2025. Show it to all your family, all your mates, all your friends. Let's show how awesome this sport is to the greater world. We're also looking at some of the comments in there as well. It's great to see everyone getting involved. Who are we supporting out here for the final day of the World Championships? I can't quite make out the number. Was that Tom Arnaud on the screen?
It looked like it,
I'm sure we got some supporters for Tom.
He was getting along really nicely there, so it'd be interesting. It must be very patchy right now. He was actually foiling quite easily. So let's hope that win comes in, and so we can get away with this next heat. But unfortunately, it looks like that Where's Wally flag is still flying at the back of the boat.
Indeed. We are seeing a lot of them flying still, foiling around, but I'm sure it's just because it's quite shifty out there, as we've seen throughout the racing so far. But it's looking like hopefully we will be underway very, very soon. So do not go anywhere. On our screens at the minute, we have the committee boat. Here is where all the racing is organised from, where all the marks are laid, and also where the starts happen as well. We have some flags up on the boat. That is how all the information is transferred to the riders, to the coaches, to see exactly what happens. So on there at the minute, we have some triangular flag, another white flag, and we also have the orange flag. The orange flag shows that we are in warning, and the AP flag, which is the red and white triangular flag, that shows and tells everyone that we are under a bit of postponement, but the AP flag is gone down now, meaning that we are inside the last few minutes until we get this semi-final for the men underway.
Let's get this show rocking and rolling.
Yeah,
or flying.
right on.
We're foiling, it's
yeah.
It's really hard, having that postponement flag going up and down, and it can be, tiresome for everybody. But we want to have fair racing, and at the end of the day, as fair as it possibly can be in these gusty, shifty conditions. But we're in the countdown now. For these men. So let's pray to those wind gods that he comes in steady, or she comes in steady, or it comes in steady, and we get another great race away. These sailors will be amped, they'll be pumped, they'll be ready to get on with it and show us how it's done.
And going to the medal series, men, just seeing exactly what is going on at the minute. So we did run that quarterfinal already. It was Tom Arnoux and Matthias Isaac who managed to make it through that quarterfinal inside of this semi-final. We now have all four riders, Nicholas Goyard, Kieran Badlow, Tom Arnoux, Matthias Isaac, fighting it out for the top two spots inside of that grand final. Whoever comes top two in this race will be inside that grand final and can continue their quest in getting the World Championship title. Whew. So this is a huge moment for each and every one of these riders at the minute. We've got Nicholas Goyard on our screen at the minute, repping that pink board. That board was from the Paris Olympic Games. We had slightly different colours going on there. And now
both the men and the women have pink boards for the Olympics?
Indeed they did.
Okay, right. Yeah, great colour.
Yeah, I love a good bit of pink.
Yeah. Got to be. It's great. Pink's a beautiful colour.
It is dreamy. It is dreamy.
So we're inside the 2 minutes now for these sailors. The breeze looks like it's actually filled in beautifully right down the course. If you look upwind towards that land in the distance, you can see dark lines coming down, which is perfect. Looking really good. Let's hope they behave themselves on the start line. And we can get some really good racing in here for this semi-final to get the top two that will go through until the very, very final of final racing. This is a crucial moment for a lot of the sailors as they're figuring out the strength of the wind, whereabouts they're going to take their last jibe as their final run up to that start line. And you can see all the coach boats in the bottom of your screen. They're all sitting there. There's a special area that they have to stay in during this racing so they don't interfere with the sailors that are racing. But it's actually looking pretty good right now, Rafferty.
Yeah.
See those white caps coming down? Those white caps looks good, and we might see some top speeds of the day today.
Breeze on. I mean, throughout this day so far, we've seen it quite light winds, them all pushing. It's been light winds, but they've all been going almost double this wind speed, around 20 knots. That's around 40 kilometers an hour, I'm pretty sure. And they're going to be going even faster now as the wind has certainly picked up a bit. Certainly on the right side of the course at the minute, we have a bit more wind. Will it be on the left side of the course? We'll be seeing very, very soon. But now all four riders lining up for their semi-final. At that top end, both French riders, Tom and Nicholas. Down the bottom end, Kieran Badlow. And just to the right of him, with the Brazilian flag, Matthias Isaac.
Their positioning, you can see that they've actually got their slot now, and they know that within the last sort of 10 seconds, 15 seconds, they're not allowed to do radical turns, and that is the place that they will be taking that shot at the line. Kieran's really going for that pin, and then we have...
Oh, he has certainly gone for that pin. Certainly, if that is a clear start, he has by far got the best start. He's come in with the bigger speed, and he has come in the optimal position, pin for the wind. Closely behind him, Matthias Isaac. It is breeze on though, and it is power on. Tom Arnoux at the top there, putting the hammer down, trying to gain more speed and gain distance on the rest. Oh no, it's actually Nicholas Goyard in that red bib.
Wow,
here is that first mark.
That was a brilliant start.
Clear start it was,
Kieran.
confirmation.
That was gold. That's how you do it. That's why he was a gold medalist in Japan, and he's come back really strong. I just saw photos of his little baby daughter this morning, who's only 6 weeks old.
No way.
So yeah, he's really happy to be a dad. Now there's a defining moment. He's gone out different side.
Very different side.
To the others, and the others are actually in a really, really good puff right there. So I'm not sure if that was a good move.
To us,
by
it looks
Kieran.
like the other three are in the right place,
Yeah,
aren't
and
they?
they've got pressure. Their bows are down, and they're heading pretty much probably straight to that gate. The two yellow marks at the bottom. Okay, they've just jibed through in the distance, but we're following Kieran here.
Yeah, we can see him
Maybe he's got a little
constantly
gust
monitoring.
there. Yeah.
We can see him constantly monitoring through his sail where he is compared to the other side of the fleet. And here is the other side. Matthias Isaac, Tom Arnoux, and
Oh boy.
oh my gosh.
Yep.
Holy moly. Kieran Badlow, unfortunately, has missed out a lot of ground there, just going onto the wrong side of the course there. That has opened up the gap for Nicholas Goyard now to snatch the lead in second place, close second place. It's Matthias Isaac and Tom Arnoux also in there as well, but Kieran Badlow just dropping out a lot
Wow,
there.
we saw that on the screen. The others jibed in the gust. Like I say, you got to look over your shoulder. You've got to take those lines of wind. He lost a lot of ground in that. Those guys got that lovely dark edge of wind, jibed on it perfectly, put the bow down and sent it all the way to that gate. They barely even had to jibe. You know, that was a big, big shift in the wind going downwind.
Huge shift. And now another very interesting point here. It's looking as if Tom Arnoux has by far got the best mark rounding there, actually. But still, it's looking like Nicholas Goyard has certainly got the edge there. Matthias Isaac putting in some big pumps and a big risk manoeuvre there from Kieran Badlow, deciding to go onto the other side of the course. However, it could be big risk or big... Oh, someone going down in the back. Holy moly, someone gone down. I can't quite make out who that was. Was that Tom Arnoux?
I think it was Tom. He was in the front and he just looked like he hit something, maybe, because he just sort of catapulted and fell in.
Oh, he's straight back up, though.
Wow. Yeah, but that's... Wow. He'll be...
gosh.
There'll be some language coming out of his mouth right
now.
now.
I think it was actually Nicholas Goyard, I think it was.
Okay, I am... Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, because I think that French flag isn't wearing the red. Okay, so we have.
No, haven't quite got the red. Okay.
There's Matthias Isaac on our screens.
Sure, we will see it shortly. But
Indeed.
what actually happened in that situation?
But
wow.
So in front, I'm pretty sure, if I'm right, that is Tom Arnoux. Can't quite make out the number, but I could kind of see that he wasn't wearing a red bib. So that could be Tom Arnoux.
Wow.
Back in the lead.
That's
is it? Oh, I can't. Is it? Oh, I still can't quite make it out. But anyway.
But we know Brazil.
Yeah. Matthias Isaac is shredding.
Okay,
He's in
here we go. What is it? What?
Oh, okay. It's very interesting. I'm not too sure what happened here. Here is Nicholas Goyard. Oh.
It looked like his foil fell off.
Maybe his harness line.
Or broke or something. Because he actually went round the front.
Yeah,
it was just more like a collapse than a catapult.
It wasn't a normal crash, let's say.
that didn't feel wow, that's interesting.
Either way, what a shame.
That was drama.
A huge shame for Nicholas Goyard there. Having a crash, and it's looking like he is out of the race at the minute. But Tom Arnoux and Matthias Isaac, they were the winners from their quarterfinal. Could they come and win this semi-final as well, backing themselves a spot inside this grand final? Oh,
it doesn't get exciting, more exciting than this. This is just, wow.
Gosh.
It's just one of those things, you just can't control. I mean, I feel real sorry for Nikolai.
Oh, gosh.
Wow, this is... And so these guys are actually, they can chill out a little bit because this result, this is not their final result. This is just to make that top two. It's not the final race. Just get to that finish line without any more disasters, because these two will probably be in to that final four.
Indeed, but it is Tom Arnoux, 25 years of age. He has had an absolute blinder of a competition so far. Midweek, he was wearing the yellow bib. He was leading the competition, just dropped down a little bit more, but he has come back now, leading this semi-final. Oh, it's looking like maybe Matthias Isaac has come through maybe a little bit. Oh, yeah, Matthias Isaac has now snatched the lead.
Yeah, he did a really nice... Unfortunately, Tomo had to do a double jibe
Little
and
swerve
go
down.
really low. And on these falling boards, you don't want to go broad. They slow right down, and it's actually a dangerous position to go into because you can drop off the foil. Whereas Matteo came in with a ton of speed. His sail GP training must be paying off, eh?
Certainly so. Sail GP training is going well, and he has now won the semi-final for the men. He, and along with Tom Arnoux, are now inside of the grand final. Yet another exhilarating race here for the final day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. Matthias Isaac, he is absolutely elated, I am sure.
You know, it's really, really great to see someone that's non-European, coming from South America, because we know that the dominance of the European nations, because they can get really a lot of quality racing, don't have to travel as far. But it's fantastic to see Brazil up in the top 4. I love that. I love having
Epic.
diversity in our winners, so there's no one dominating. It's spread across the globe. And it's awesome to see him up there, and congratulations to him. Well done, mate.
A mega congrats to him, and along with Tom Arnoux, both riders having a great semi-final, now inside of the grand final. But here was the moment where, unfortunately, Kieran Badlow made a fatal, not quite fatal, but fatal for the race, in that he didn't manage to
He didn't look over his shoulder, and he
That's
should
it.
have gone with them, even if he had to round up and stayed close with them. So, it's the decision. Oh, and that was
There
another
it is.
key moment in the race.
Let's have a look at Nicholas Goyal's crash here. Very interesting. It looked, speculation, but to me, that looked like a
Harness line.
possible harness line snap. But that opened up the gap for Tom Arnoux and Matthias Isaac to get those first place and second place positions within that semi-final. Wow.
That was a heat. That was a heat with lots of drama. I want to thank the gods for making this actually a really, really exciting finals day. It really is. It's just not it's never over until it's over. And it's pretty exciting racing with crashes, not intentional. Missing
However,
gusts.
yeah, it's great for us to watch, but going through their heads, it must be, you can look at it both sides. For the riders who have missed out there, for example, Nicholas Goyal and Kieran Badlow, a huge shame for them, and huge disappointment. They can be extremely happy with their results, huge epic results in this competition so far. And then you look at the other side.
Okay, so we're doing a slow motion on, still can't quite figure out exactly what actually happened there, but I'm sure.
So he's leaning out, and then I think it just drops back, doesn't it? Yeah, look at that, just drops back.
Yeah, he wasn't sheeted in, and he just falls in.
Yeah.
It does kind of look like a harness line went on him, because he lost, his back hand was sheeted out, and the front came in and around. So hopefully out on the water, do we have a roving reporter to find out what went on, or we'll have to wait till we're back at the beach?
Back at the beach, I think. Back at the beach. But a huge shout out to Nicholas Goyal. Unfortunately, whatever happened there, hopefully he's okay. It didn't look too extreme of a crash, so I'm sure he will be fine. A great competition from him. Came in today wearing that red bib with the coming in third place. But again, another great competition from him.
And what you were saying too, Rafferty, yes, they will be highly disappointed with that, when you get fifth in the Worlds. But then you actually take a little bit of time to reflect, and you look back and go, well, that wasn't too bad after all. But if they weren't upset and they weren't mad, then they wouldn't be winners, and they wouldn't have been in this top 8.
Exactly.
So that's the thing about this group of windsurfers. Once you get into this high performance stage of competing in iQFOiL, everyone wants to win. Why would you not be here? You don't come here for a little walk in the park and a little cup of tea.
That's it. Cup of tea, a piece of cake.
So you're coming here because you want to win, and that's what creates winners. So yeah, if they're not disappointed, then I would find that that's a little bit strange. And it's completely normal to be disappointed, but who bounces back, learns from the mistakes, gets that amp again, and comes back fighting for the next regatta.
Certainly so. And then you can look at the other side. So, for example, Matthias Isaac and Tom Arnoux, who's just won that semi-final, they will just be absolutely ecstatic. They continue their quest on getting the World Championship title. They still have a chance. All that separates them from that World Championship title, the 2025 World Championship title, is 2 race wins. All they need to do now is win 2 races in a row. Well, they have to win 2 races within the grand final, and then they can pick up that title. Although it's going to be hard. They will be meeting Nicolo Renner, last year's world champion, also Andy Brown, who's having an absolute corker of a competition so far. So it's going to be no easy feat, along with Andy Brown being rewarded for his top performance throughout the week, already starting with 1 win. Nicolo Renner on half a win, being rewarded as well from his top performance.
Yeah, we're in for an exciting afternoon, so stay tuned. We're just coming up to 3 minutes before the final of the women's heat. So if Emma Wilson takes this win from this race, job done. If she doesn't, game on. So it's pretty exciting. This is it. This is what we've all been waiting for, is this final medals race. Pretty exciting. It looks like the wind has filled in beautifully. Lots of white caps now, not so many silver patches. These girls will be ready. It looks like their 3-minute flag's gone up, and they'll be getting up onto that foil, getting their heads in the game, taking some deep breaths. That's one thing that I used to do a lot of. You know, when that gun had gone, I would do some deep breathing and sing sometimes happy songs in my head, just to get into the place that I needed to be. And then but really focused. So focus is the key, not tunnel vision, because as we've seen today, you can't put your tunnel vision glasses on because there's gusts all over the place, and you need to ride that roller coaster of those gusts. And when you see them, that's where you want to be. You want to be riding those gusts all the way downwind and sailing into them upwind and staying in them no matter what it takes.
It is the name of the game here out in Aarhus, Denmark at the minute for the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. It's a tactical game out here. The wind is quite shifty. It's quite gusty, meaning that the riders have to have their head in the game.
So I just saw the black flag come up. So that means if someone is over in this heat, they're out. Is that correct?
With the 5
finals.
seconds.
Yeah. No, with the 5 seconds?
Yep.
Oh, you sure? Even with the black flag?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Apologies, everyone. I'm not quite that savvy with the rules.
No, all good. I'm pretty sure anyway. Pretty sure. But yeah, here we are coming up to the grand final for the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. The whole week has led up to this moment. What happens in this grand final? 4 riders are inside of this grand final. Top 2 from the semis and top 2 from the previous series. Those get bonus points from their top performance earlier in the week. First overall starts with 1 win and second with half a win. First to reach 2 wins out of these 4 riders wins. Win races, earn points, and if there's a tie, the last race decides it. So it's going to be absolutely exhilarating. I am so stoked to see this race go down. What's going to happen? Will Emma keep her lead inside this competition and win, or will it be someone from the semi? Maya Gisler having an amazing medal series so far. She also has a chance at picking up the 2025 World Championship title. Who's it going to be? We're going to find out very soon.
Very, very soon. It looks like they must be within seconds away. Here we go. Yes, 15 seconds. So we have Emma down to leeward by the pin. We have Maya just above her. Tamar from Israel. And then Teresa at the top of our picture, and Emma's put her foot down. 1 second, and they must be.
It's coming up. Where is this start? And it is game on.
Oh my Lord.
Emma, what's happened there? What's happened there? We'll see very soon. I think
she looked like she was slowing down because she thought she was going to be over.
Yeah.
And then went into her back. It fell in backwards.
Indeed.
So maybe they thought that maybe they're having a general recall. We're just going to have to wait and see. But it looks like.
And here we are. Let's have a look down that bottom end. Emma definitely slowed up a bit. And unfortunately, Tamar just going into the back of her. Emma now in the water.
So that could be the end of That was drama. Okay, so let's have a look a bit closer.
Yeah. But
at
it's looking
this.
like it is still running now.
Oh my
Maya
gosh.
Gisler in the lead closely,
Oh my
followed
God,
by
she will.
Teresa
I
Steinlein.
can't even imagine what's going through Focus Maya. You know, it's not over till it's over. But what a position to be in right now. And then Emma's got herself up and going again, and Tamar looks like she. Not quite
Someone's
sure
dropped
what's
off
happened
the
there, but
foil
she
there,
dropped off the foil.
Tamar, yeah, unfortunately, Emma is bringing up the back now. But remember, anything can happen within these races. We've seen a lot of changes around just from riders deciding to go the right way on the course. What could
Okay,
happen?
so I think what's happened is that Tamar was in the wrong coming into that start line and interfered with Emma, who had to slow down because she was bearing down on her. And then Tamar has just done a 360, so she's done her circles to exonerate herself from that. So it's still.
It's game on.
I think that's what happened from what I've observed, because I saw Tamar doing a tap,
Yeah.
which was very strange, and Emma had to back up, and then because she was coming down. So I think that's what's happened, which means actually that they're going to have to race again. Remember, you get another chance. They both get another chance, Tamar and Emma, to come back into this next race. So, but meanwhile, at the front of the fleet,
It's
we've
Maya
got
Gisler
Maya
and
Teresa.
Teresa Steinlein deciding to split off actually at the bottom. But some very interesting leaders so far. Teresa Steinlein did come in from that semi-final, and Maya Gisler coming all the way from the quarterfinal. Who is leading so far? It's looking extremely close. Only 8 meters separates Teresa and Maya. Look at that though, both around that 50 knots of board speed upwind, but where they meet at the top mark is where we will be seeing who made the tactical decision better.
So which side has paid off? And we've seen from previous races, the left side has been paying, but there's a lot more breeze right now, and it might have shifted a little bit more. So it looks like to me that Maya's actually on quite good pressure compared to Teresa, with a lot more white caps. There seems to be a little bit more pressure out the right this time, but I may be wrong, like you say.
That's it. It's
that
all
tack
speculation.
is going to be all crucial of when they come back together and how they cross. Knowing that Teresa actually has to put one more tack in, and Maya only one if she gets her lines right heading into that top mark.
There is Teresa Marie Steinlein, also wearing the red bib, meaning that she did come into today in that 3rd place position. She's currently leading the grand final. However, remember, it is 2 wins for her that she needs. She is starting on no wins at the minute. Emma is the only woman here who starts already on 1 win. And it's the first to 2 wins. But look at Teresa here, showing us exactly how to ride this iQFOiL equipment. This is also a good thing to note. This is the first World Championship where the new 7.3 meter sails are being used, and they look like they have got hold of them straight away.
Yeah, they do. They're quite a lot smaller than the 8 meter, so the girls haven't had to get as big to be able to hold the sails down. And the 7.3 is really suited. Well, here we go. The left-hand side is paying again.
Left hand has certainly paid.
Well, unless that's Emma. No, it looks like, Teresa's just got her lines beautifully.
Oh, will Maya make this ley line? It's looking extremely close. Teresa,
I'm not sure. Maya's going to have to pump to be able to get up from that, whether or not she's given herself enough space to be able to. No, she hasn't. She's had to put another tack in. So Teresa's looking sweet here. That left-hand side.
It's paid.
It didn't pay down win for Dora for Kiran, but it's paid for Teresa. She must have her head's been out of the boat. She's been looking upwind. She's sailing incredibly well.
It shows that it has to be race by race. You can't just do the same thing in each race. You have to analyze every single second throughout the race. Where is the wind? Where is the shift? And someone who shows us how they've done it perfectly is Teresa Steinlein.
Which is really interesting. Emma has actually been able to sail through the fleet and is now in 2nd place from that crash at the start line. That shows the quality and the class and the ability of her. I mean, to fancy to be in the water at the start line, and she is now coming in very, very quickly to
Very
Teresa into
quickly.
that gate in a comfortable second.
It is absolutely amazing to see. Of course, there's still a fair bit of distance, but she has made up a mega bit of distance already throughout this race. Could she make up the distance at the bottom? I guess we'll wait and find out. But Teresa will just be on defensive mode right now. How will she defend off Emma Wilson? It's looking like she's doing it all right so far.
That is an incredible comeback from Emma. I mean, all kudos to Teresa. But that is a really great comeback from Emma upwind on that second beat. So on that second upwind, she would have, what a game on.
Yeah, game on. It certainly is. I mean, remember, she hasn't finished quite yet. And towards the finish, she goes. She is on the scoreboard inside of this grand final. She now has one win. Only one more win separating her between the 2025 World Championship title. Could she do it? She's done it one time. We'll see if she can do it again. Wow.
Okay, so that's like you say, she's on the board. And
Certainly
Emma
on the
is on the
board.
board, and second isn't too shabby, but it doesn't count for anything in this, does it?
That's it. Emma Wilson.
So it
there
just comes
is
down
that
to points.
start. Oh, just... It's a tricky one. It was a very tricky one.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh, gosh, hopefully her foil's all right there. But we did see Emma slowing up quite a bit there. And then Tamar just going into
it'd be
the back
interesting.
of her.
It'll be an interesting one. I'm not sure of the details, but that was a good crash. And the fact, though, that she crashed and was able to work her way back to second place is remarkable. That shows the class and the experience and the calmness of Emma Wilson.
Because she could have given up there. Given up.
She could have said, "Oh well, we'll just wait for the next one." But
Exactly,
no,
but
she
no.
came back.
All the way back to it.
She has amazing resilience, that young Emma Wilson. So yeah, it's a lot of experience and resilience.
Certainly does. But all the focus on Teresa Steinlein within this first grand final race. She picks up the win. What a race she did there. She's now on the scoreboard. Only one more win separating her between that 2025 World Championship title. And here we are for the grand final out here. So on one win apiece, the top rider isn't quite right. That should be Emma Wilson on one win. Teresa Steinlein now also on one win. Tamar Steinberg Tamar Steinberg and Maya Gisler bringing up the third and fourth place there. There we have it. So it is Emma Wilson and Teresa Steinlein now on one win a pair. Tamar Steinberg on half a win and Maya Gisler on currently no wins. And remember, it is 2 wins to get
So we
the
could
title.
actually be out here for quite a while, because if Maya comes back and wins this next race, that means they're all pretty much a win apiece.
Very true.
Wow.
Very true.
So we could be in here for a long day, but luckily, guess what? The wind's up.
The wind is up.
So hopefully there's not many more postponements, and we can get this show on the road. But they're saying that they're waiting for wind, but it looks quite windy to me. There's plenty of white caps. Maybe there's been a slight shift, as we saw in that race with Teresa going out to the left-hand side of the course. She actually made up quite a lot on Maya, who was in the lead. So they might be adjusting the course a little bit for the wind shift more than waiting for wind, because it looks like there's plenty of wind.
Exactly. So we have a protest on the water, actually. This is the reason why this AP flag has been displayed. What will come out of this protest? I think it was probably from that incident we saw at the start.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and that's why we have the jury on the water. So you saw following behind the girls as they were racing along, you saw an orange boat speeding along with a yellow flag. That is our on the water jury. So they will be now doing a quick recall, probably looking at video footage as well, for that protest to see what happens from that race. Drama. Oh my gosh, we've had
it's been non-stop.
people exploding. We've had people going from first to last.
Ooh.
We've had people going from last to first. We've had all sorts of things.
It's been popping off here. It has really been a big event here so far on the last day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships, and here is another one of those big events.
Okay, so there was actually a collision there.
Mm.
Emma looked like she rounded
collision.
up, and Tamar went into the back of her.
And
if I was a betting person, I would say Emma's in the wrong, but I may be wrong. But you're not allowed to deviate from course, and you can see there that Emma went up to get around that pin, maybe, and Tamar came through. So
I think it's debatable, isn't it? It's very debatable because, of course, we did see Emma very much slow up a lot.
Yes.
But did she deviate from the line? I think that's debatable. I think from our view, we can definitely speculate. However, we will wait for confirmation of the umpires out there to tell us exactly what happened and what the correct outcome of that situation.
And they're the guys that know the rules. Well, we like to hope that they know the rules.
So that's their job.
But that's why they're there.
Exactly.
And most of them are very experienced, and that's what we have in sailing. We have juries that do exactly this, and they know their rules. These guys, their passion isn't really so much, well, they must love sailing, but they love their rules.
They do love their rules.
They love executing their rules.
Yes. Everything by the book.
At least they've come here and they've got a job to do, so they'll be happy. But I can't imagine that Tamar and Emma are feeling very happy right now. It's not nice to have collisions like that, especially in the final race. It's never good for the morale. It's never good for the
of course.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a scenario similar to this in your racing days?
I tended to steer very, very clear of any protest room type situations because I wasn't very good with conflict. And probably, which is maybe quite an amazing fact to many people, out of my 25 years of racing, I probably was only in the protest room about 4 times. So I preferred, if I thought I was wrong, I preferred always to do a 720 or a 360. So that's when you turn the board round to exonerate yourself and then carry on racing, than go into a protest room, unless I knew that I was in the right and was disadvantaged by that. But it was just my style of racing. I mean, some people love the protest room and that's how it's won and lost. America's Cup is very much like that. But for my style, it was much easier to, have the benefit of the doubt, clear myself and come back and have a clean race than have a DNC or disqualification.
Exactly. Yeah, I can very much agree with you there. I was never a fan of the protest room, to be honest. But, sometimes the protest room does have to happen.
Absolutely.
Because no matter what, it's a fact of the game. There will be scenarios where there are possible rule breaks. It's just a game of it's the name of the game, because everyone is traveling really, really fast. Everyone is pushing to the absolute limits. Sometimes going for gaps that don't even exist. So to push themselves up into a fighting position. So that's it. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens out of the outcome from the race from before.
Yeah, it's we're in postponement mode while this protest has been carried out, because they need the jury to be able to watch this next race, and so that is probably the delay right now, as we're waiting for that to happen. So yeah, let's hope the decision is made quite quickly and we can get on with these final races for these sailors. They've now been on the water for getting close to a couple of hours now, so they'll be starting to feel a little bit of the fatigue, a little bit of the, it's an endurance game. It's never, even though they're doing sprint races, being a sailor is like a marathon, and it's all about sort of day in, day out, coming back stronger, staying in the game, not, staying focused. And it's a mind game just as much as a physical game as we play this game. Oh, the postponement's come down, so we're going to be into a start sequence for the men, as we stand by and wait for that result from the protest.
And here we go, coming up very soon, grand final for the women. Actually, coming up very soon. We do have the men hanging around the boats, just waiting to see when their grand final will be getting underway. But if that is correct, we will be getting underway with round number 2, heat number 2 for the grand final of
It looks
the
like
women.
the men are hanging around the back of the board. They might actually have the wrong graphics up there because the women are in that protest. Oh, no, yeah, it looks like actually the men, in my opinion, but...
Well, we'll find out very soon either way.
We'll see who crosses the start line first, eh?
We're both trying to figure it out, yeah.
But it does look like men hanging around that boat waiting for that 2-minute signal. There we go. There's the 2-minute signal. And if these men take off onto the floor from that, we know that it's the men. So stand by. It's the men.
Indeed. 3 minutes, I think. 3 minutes to go until the men is coming up. The timer isn't quite right, but that flag meaning is that we are inside the last 3 minutes until the grand final for the men coming up very soon. This is going to be epic.
This is going to be epic. I wonder how Tom's feeling, because if he wins this one, job done. And we will have our world champion of 2025 ready after this race. But if he doesn't, everyone gets to go again, which is fantastic.
This is the thing. So going off on to what happens within this grand final. 4 riders make it to the grand final. Top 2 from the semis and top 2 from the previous series. Those get bonus points from their top performances earlier in the week. First overall starts with 1 win and second with half a win. First to reach 2 wins out of these 4 riders wins. Win races earn points, and if there's a tie, the latest race decides it. So, who is on that win already? It is Andy Brown. He came into this last day leading overall, so he already has 1 win under his belt. He only needs to win 1 more race. And in second place, we do have Nicolo Renner, who came in to it. Last year's world champion. Will he be able to be this year's world champion as well? We'll find out very, very soon. But this is going to be epic. Also joining them is Matthias Isaac and Tom Arnaud, both having an amazing medal series so far. Cool. What are the bets on here, Barbara?
Oh, from what we've seen today, I think my money is actually better in my pocket. Because it's been really quite exciting here with the lead changing many, many times in some of these races. It looks like we have a really good breeze right now. You can see the white caps on the water. It's still quite patchy, but we still good breeze. So it's going to be a fabulous race. And looks like they've done their last jibe coming into the start line now. And you can see in the yellow boat, the jury following them in case there are some sort of protest to take care of them as soon as they can.
Here we are, top 4 riders currently in this 2025 World Championships for the men. Leading the pack into this start, Brazil 7, Matthias Isaac. Oh, look at this, coming in with mega speed up that top end. GBR 360 wearing that yellow bib. Andy Brown putting on the gas. Now Tom Arnaud also putting on the gas. Look how close that is. Oh, Tom Arnaud just touching down. That was nearly a sketchy moment, but it is all good. The power is down. The speed is down. And the adrenaline is down. Down that bottom end, just being hidden a little bit, is Nicolo Renner. But look at the speed in here. Not much separating them at all. 27 knots of boat speed. 55 kilometers an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. This is speed.
This is epic. What a fantastic start and a lineup of these guys. This is the fastest we've seen for the day. That forecasted wind of 21 knots is obviously hit, and these guys are pumped. Let's see what happens around this first mark, whoever may jibe off, but no, they must be seeing good pressure, and we have a race here.
We certainly have a race on. Look how close all 4 riders are right now. Andy Brown putting in some huge pumps, closely followed by Tom Arnaud repping up the back. But it is Nicolo Renner, Italy 150, currently leading this race at the minute. Matthias Isaac closely followed. Oh, very sketchy jive from Andy Brown there, just having to let off a little bit to ensure that Matthias can get past him as he had right of way. But there is no stopping these men. They are pumping. Andy Brown is an absolute beast. He's a monster when it comes to pumping. He will not stop. Just keep looking at Andy Brown. Look at his sail pumping. He is working to the absolute max. He only needs to win one race, and that will make him the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. Will it happen? Not too sure quite yet. Still Nicola Renner in the lead.
Yeah, but this is the defining moment of who decides who is going to go round which mark. Oh, looks like they've all going around that left-hand side of the course, which is where our winners have been coming out. Good move by Tom
Arnoux coming out
Yes,
onto the right side
because
of the
if he
course.
follows them, you'll never pass anyone if you're following. So, and he knows he only has to do one tack. Yeah, and there we have
Andy Brown deciding to put in his tack there. Will that be the right place that he put in the tack? We'll find out very, very soon. But it is Tom Arnoux who makes his way out onto the right side of the course, splitting away from the pack. Will that be the right move? Possibly so. It is looking like it is breeze on right now, isn't it?
Yeah, what's really interesting, if we believe in the graphics, that there's some speed differences here.
Oh, wow.
Which is really interesting. Andy might have actually put the nose down a bit to get his speed up.
Oh, wow.
And we're not quite sure if how accurate they are. But yeah, game on. We don't really know what's going to happen until the tack. Until the
tack.
crossover.
Until almost that top mark, though.
Absolutely.
Still anything can happen. This is the amazing thing about this course is that, of course, it has that amazing drag race at the start. But here is where the tactical strategies really make the biggest difference. Tom Arnoux deciding to go in with his tack now. How is it? Just off the screen there, but
here
straight back onto the other side.
This is the defining moment of where the crossover is. Okay, so Andy has tacked on the inside there, hoping that there's been a slight overlay there and maybe he could pump up into that lane, but we've got the port hand tackers coming at the top of our screen and the closest to us now. Wow, here we go. The right hand has paid.
Oh, holy moly. That view just go to the left. Now we've realised what has happened. If Andy Brown is on this ley line. Oh, Matthias Isaac just going in the water there, unfortunately. But it's looking like Andy Brown wearing the yellow bib. GBR 360.
Wow.
Will he make the line? He has made the line. He has got the lead. If he wins this race, he will be the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. But there is still a downwind. There is still a final reach. So he will just be in defense mode. This is absolute cinema.
This is cinema. I mean, wearing the yellow jersey and winning the first race of the finals at this stage. He needs to look over his shoulder. There's more wind coming from the right-hand side.
There is breeze on the other side.
Breeze on the breeze. We see this happen to Dor. Kirian. I keep getting them mixed up. This is the old days. Kirian, sorry. Apologies, mate. But wow.
Tom Arnoux on the screens at the minute. Okay, look at that leaderboard. What is going on right now? It is looking extremely close. Maybe Tom Arnoux, but all three top riders here. It's looking extremely close. But look at Andy. He is a beast. He does not stop pumping. Where is his next move to defend his top spot at the minute? This is an extremely important point. How is his drive? He is drived and he is looking safe. He is pumping though. Keep this lead, Andy. Will he be able to clutch it up? Where is this ley line? Tom Arnoux coming through. Tom Arnoux snatching the lead yet again. He made that ley line super sweet.
Yeah, I mean, Andy did everything right, because if he'd actually followed in too far and followed him, there's no way I was going to get him. So that gust that Tom Arnoux jibed on gave him, he was able to put his nose down, get far enough ahead. And no matter how much pumping you can do with those types of speeds, it's not going to make the big difference. But man, we were so close. But now it's game on. That is a race.
It is really game on. That was, I have to say, one of the most exciting races I have ever seen. It was all so close, a lot of mixing around, but clutching the win inside of this first grand final for the men, it is Tom Arnoux.
Tom, he must be feeling pretty happy about that. His dream is still alive to become the world champion for 2025. Yeah, high five.
He's stoked.
Fist
Look
pump.
at that.
Yeah, muscle man.
Cool, blimey. So he is now on one win as well, along with Andy Brown.
Wow, what a race that was. Boy, I think I feel like I need a bit of a Kit Kat after that one.
Yeah,
a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
little bit of drink of water.
Yeah, I'm just steezed up right now.
That was pretty. That was exciting.
That was
really exciting
epic.
race, and I just love this new format where the lead changes. It just creates drama. It's really is fantastic, and an epic start by all four of them. Really close start. It's still anybody's game across this first reach.
There is that start, the replay of the first grand final for the men that we have just seen. All right together. Look how close all four riders are here right now. GBR 360, Andy Brown, Tom Arnoux, Matthias, Isaac, and also Niccolo Renner, all extremely close throughout the race. Niccolo Renner did take an early lead in that, though.
He did.
He certainly did.
He came in. It was just that upwind, wasn't it? When they split tacks, that's when the right hand side paid with that one tack that they had to do. So really interesting.
There was another big moment from Tom Arnoux. He came in fourth.
If you're going to follow, you're never going to pass, So you've got to cut your losses. It's a bit of gambling that goes on.
Matthias just dropping off that tack, unfortunately, allowing Tom Arnoux to get the win, the first win in this grand final. In a close second was Andy Brown, an amazing race from him. He just has to win another race to get the World Championship title. But now, along with Tom Arnoux, both on one win each. And remember, it is the first to two wins within the grand final. Wow. Oh, my gosh.
That was exciting. So it's not over yet. We're here for a few more races.
Yeah. Great heavens.
We're still here, so hang in there, everybody.
Yeah.
It's just getting closer and closer and closer with every race. It looks like we'll be having the girls pretty soon. And we haven't heard the outcome of that protest yet. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any intel on that protest from the powers that be. But we're now in a bit of a standby mode, although there's no postponement flag up right now. So we'll just be waiting for that start sequence for the women and any news on that protest. So we've got the final results up here from that medal series with Tom Arnoux taking that win, so he is now on the board. So right now, Andy Brown and Tom Arnoux are tied with one win each, and then...
Yeah, and then Niccolo Renner on that half a point, being rewarded from his previous performance throughout the week.
But as we've seen through these series, Matteo, who's been sailing incredibly well, if he wins this next one, then we really are at a very interesting place.
Then it's really game. Well, it's.
We could actually have two more races.
Yeah.
Because we
could have
so
three.
In theory we could have another 3 races in the men if Matteo wins this next one. So we're pretty exciting here in this Norwegian sailing club, windsurfing club.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Sailing amongst some relics of sails that were in my days. So back in the 80s, there's like a couple of Gastra sails. A couple of very old Neil Pride sails. Some of the sails aren't even fully battened, so we are definitely in a relic of a building here in our house in the old Norwegian windsurfing centre.
It's a great place. And also there is a great place is the Aarhus International Sailing Centre, where this competition is based out of. Amazing facility, has everything needed for a high-level pinnacle event such as this. Big inside space for all the riders to store their equipment and out of the elements such as wind and rain. Really easy access for all the coach boats. And also have a gym with I heard apparently a sauna as well.
One of that sailing centre is probably the best I've ever seen worldwide, with the facilities that they have, the location that they have. It really is envy. It should be the envy of any sailing nation, seeing that particular centre, and it's well kept, looked after. I love the way that it's been built in a very sustainable manner. The Danes are very, very conscious about our environment, so everything's recycled. Even our lunch bags are actually in very fine cheesecloth material, not plastic bags. It's they've put a lot of thought into this event in and around sustainability and looking after the environment, which is actually one of the pillars of the iQFOiL Association, is sustainability as much as possible, because we all are passionate about our planet. We are passionate about our oceans and looking after them for the future generations. So, that was a bit of a preach, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, there we go. There we go.
It's getting quite late in the day, and I'm preaching still.
This is the way to go. You know, I can't stop preaching when it's iQFOiling. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the vibes are unmatched right now. The vibes are through the roof. It is epic. I'm having an amazing time watching this iQFOiL racing, and I really hope all of you watching are as well, because this is world class. This really is world class, isn't it, Barbara?
Yeah, this is really the first World Championships, of this next Olympic cycle. So this is where you get your measures from how you're placed and where you're going and what things you need to work on for the next 3 years. So we're sort of halfway through that first year, being in July, and there's 3.5 years, 3 years to go now before LA 2028. So this is like the first big measure, the first big pinnacle event for most of these sailors for this year. So yeah, it's a big event, a big moment, great competition. We've got good wind on the course right now, and we're ready to go for this next final heat 2 for the women's fleet.
Exactly. Pink flag is up, signifying that we are inside the last few minutes of the start for the women. Remember, all these riders are on the water, and they're not allowed any technology to make sure there's no cheating or funny business. So how all the riders, all the coaches get their information, knowing what type of race it is and when the race will be commencing, is done by flags. The pink flag signifies that it is 3 minutes. When the black flag there is risen, then that signifies that we are in 2 minutes. When that then goes down, 1 minute, pink flag down, it's go time. It is go time. So the riders need to be very aware of also the boat, exactly what's going on. They also do have honks, so at every minute there is a big honk. what would you call it? A beep?
A horn.
A horn.
Yeah, a horn. I like the honk though. I really like
the
that.
horn
That's
goes honk.
Honk, honk. It's kind of like what a guest does. Honk, honk.
Yeah, well, that's it.
No honk. We used to say horn, but honk is good.
Oh,
I'm going to call it a honk from now on. Several honks.
Several honks. Yeah. Well, hopefully not several honks. If there is more than one honk on the committee boat, that means that there is a general recall. So hopefully just the one honk. That's how these riders know if there is a general recall or not.
And it looks like we have a lovely breeze there. Lots of dark patches on the water, which is great. Which it's a different game than it was when we first started the finals at the beginning of the day at 2:30 for our first start. It was 2:00 for our first start. So these sailors will be stoked that we finally got some breeze, and it is ready. So they're coming up into the last 30 seconds. They'll be lining up.
It is go time. So remember who is on 1 win. Emma Wilson is on 1 win, being rewarded from her performance previous. And Teresa Steinlein is also on 1 win as well now, just from the previous race. So if either one of them win another race, they will become the world champion. If someone else wins it, such as Maya or Tamar, we go again. But a great start from Maya Gisler down that bottom end, certainly winning the pin there and winning the start. And it's looking
Maya might have actually pushed it too much from that start. She was a good board length in front of the other girls.
Yeah.
So obviously, was too eager Beaver to get this finals on the way, and she will probably now get a 5-second penalty for that race, penalty. Which probably makes it very difficult for her now to become the world champion.
It will do, but it's still possible.
It's true, I said.
Still possible.
Not over to the fat lady six.
Right, there we go.
I've only said it 3 times, so but that's it's something that we used to say a lot. There we go. Maya was just a good board length over compared to the other girls. Good couple of board lengths over. So her timing was a little bit off time to distance for that. Too eager Beaver.
She's pushing it
to that, which is good,
Yeah, but confirmation that it was just Maya Gisler now. So she will have that 5-second penalty. The rest of the riders, Tamar, Emma and Teresa, they will be going again on the start. On the go, on the 0-0, but Maya on the +5. So Just to remember, we are now on the grand final of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships for the women. What happens here? 4 riders make the grand final, top 2 from the semis and top 2 from the previous series. Those get bonus points from their top performance earlier in the week. First overall starts with 1 win and second with half a win. First to reach 2 wins out of these 4 riders wins. Win races, earn wins, and if there's a tie, the latest race decides it. So, currently on 1 win already is Teresa Steinlein and also Emma Wilson. On half a point is Tamar Steinberg, and currently on 0 wins is Maya Gisler. Maya Gisler unfortunately just jumped the start there, so now has a 5-second penalty on the next race that will be run. This race could be deciding the world champion. Could it be Emma? Could it be Teresa? Or will we have yet another race underway and see who clutches it? The last grand final from the men was extremely exciting. Everyone was extremely close all throughout the race. Will we see everyone extremely close again with the women's grand final? I'm sure we will do. I'm sure we will. Everyone is going to be on their absolute A game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a game of staying calm, staying consistent, staying focused, lots of deep breathing, and who wants it the most, but not making any mistakes. So yeah, it's quite a lot of strategies going on, and it's a really place where you have to actually chill out for a little while until it's time to turn it on, turn up the heat. When that flag goes. So now we've got the 3-minute flag has just gone up for another start for these for the girls. So yeah, reset, refocus, and it's continuous, you know, and it requires a lot of mental energy, and you have to be mentally fit for this as well, and physically fit, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
But that when you get to this level, it really is the mental game of fitness, and that does take practice. It takes practice and experience to be able to come back fighting and not give up and stay really calm in your brain, and you know, and you've got to work on it. It's like
Certainly.
brain gymming.
It's
you go to
it's
the
a
gym
huge
to build
skill.
your muscles. Yeah, you go to the gym to build your muscles. You got to go to the gym to build your brain. So yeah, well, let's see who comes out on top of this one.
Around 2 minutes to go until the next start. There is that black flag that signified exactly when the 2 minutes was coming up for this second heat of the grand final. On our screens at the minute, wearing the yellow bib, Emma Wilson. Unfortunately, she had a little bit of an incident with Tamar on the previous race. I think that's all sorted out now. But hopefully there are no more incidents within this race, so all these women can just race exactly how they want. Also on the screens, that is Tamar Steinberg on the left side of the screen at the minute. Wondering where Maya and Teresa are. They'll be somewhere else as well. Just starting to prepare for their race, getting their time and distance correct. Emma Wilson just jibed off there, off the foil, just getting prepared. But 2 different kind of approaches to it here. Emma Wilson just deciding to jibe a bit earlier and drop off the foil. Tamar, and also I think that is Teresa out the back there, deciding to stay up on the foil. But this is one of the really hard things. They have to get their time and distance absolutely perfect. And when they're traveling at 20, 25, 30 knots of speed, 55 kilometers an hour, or sometimes, they have to get it right. They have to get it really right. It's so important. And especially in this grand final, 1 second late can make the difference between winning and losing. And also 1 second early, which we saw, unfortunately, Maya Gisler on the previous race, that can mean you're going to have a 5-second penalty. But here we are, coming up into the last 10 seconds for this heat round 2 of the women's grand final. Emma Wilson deciding to take that pin end yet again. Tamar Steinberg just above her, and Teresa Steinlein at the top.
Here we go, and they're accelerating in, so we must be into the last few seconds as they start the line, and a beautiful start there by the 3 girls, with Emma probably slightly advanced on that pin end, and hanging into that space. These girls, it's a good breeze right now, so it's all about control. It's all about speed. It's all about calmness. It's all about looking over your shoulder, whether you're going to do a jibe around this mark straight away or whether you just send the nose down. Looks like Teresa's riding
Teresa
high on
was-
that one, just keeping the control there.
She was centimetres away from having a mega moment.
That this reaching requires, as the wind gets up, it requires a little bit more trimming from those. This is the fastest point of sail, so really putting. That's a close rounding between the top two girls, with Emma in that yellow jersey at the front, and Tamar. She's hungry. She's Maya there jibing off in the background, which is the best thing to do, because if you follow, you're not going to pass.
That's it. She has taken the risky moment, but she has nothing to lose in that 4th place position. And it's looking like possibly she's gone into a bit of a wind, bit of extra puff at that other side of the course.
These girls have actually, I think they've sailed into another breeze, the ones that we're looking at now.
That is true.
You can see that, and they'll be having to jibe pretty soon, or else they'll be overlaying. So Emma's actually managed to soak down a little bit down from Tamar, and they must be getting very, very close to a jibe. Yeah, and there you go. Just as I thought. Look at that.
Synchronized.
Synchronized jibing. She must have been telepathically hearing me. I think it's probably about time to jibe now, Emma. And there's a beautiful line of wind that Emma has there, jibing a little bit earlier than Tamar. You can see that line of wind, and that's the line of wind that you want to be able to stay in to get that nose down to that gate.
And here is that gate coming up very soon, and it is Emma Wilson wearing the yellow jersey, currently leading this race so far. A little bit of a touchdown there, meaning that she has just dropped into that 2nd place at the minute. Tamar deciding to go onto the other side of the course. Emma just dropping down on the foil, and Teresa is really attacking now, pumping extremely hard. She has the high line now, but Emma is not giving up. She is still putting in some big pumps, just defending her lead on here. But Teresa, she is not stopping pumping, and it looks like she certainly got a bit more upwind than Emma there. So it's going to be very exciting to see what happens on that other side of the course. However, here is where Tamar Steinberg on the other side of the top of the screens now. She's taken the other route, but here is that battle.
Yeah, well, I'll be putting my money on Tamar at the moment, actually, to be honest. She's actually sailed on a really good angle going around that right side and sailed into the pressure, whereas these girls are actually on a little bit of a hole. But there's a lovely gust coming from the left.
Emma put in the tack exactly the right moment. Look at the lift that she has got from there. Look at that gain that she has got.
Yeah.
They're tens of meters. What a decision. Emma decided to tack there. She has now taken the lead. Actually on the leaderboard, Tamar, where is she? There is
there
Tamar.
she goes. She's gone into her tack now, so it's going to be really interesting to see which side of the course. As we've seen most of the day, a lot of the day they've come out of the left, but we know that it's gusty. We know that it's shifty. And Tamar has actually probably been in slightly better pressure and closer to the top mark than the other girls, from what I can see.
It does look as if Tamar quite possibly could be in the lead here. But remember, the other 3 women will be making their way right across the screen at the minute. Will it be in front of Tamar? Will it be behind Tamar? And it's looking like well behind Tamar.
That was a really interesting move, because as the girls were coming down into that gate, they were coming down with not a lot of wind, and there was a huge line of wind out to the right-hand side, and Tamar went that side. That's the only way, splitting tacks like that. And yep, that's a very comfortable lead.
Look at that. What a decision yet again. Tamar decided to go out onto the right side of the course, and yet again, it's really paid for a rider to decide to make a huge decision, like completely splitting from the other side of the group. And wow, it's paid for Tamar, now leading, 18 years of age. Wow.
Do you realise there's 2 18-year-olds in this final?
It's epic.
Under 23s. Well, they're under 19. So this is amazing, to see the age of these girls and the experience they have. They must have been sailing since they were about 6 years old or something, because they're so good, really, really good. So, and there, we have Teresa around Emma coming in second.
Indeed.
So Tamar has quite a comfortable lead here. But you know what? It's never over until it's over. So we have Emma
That's it.
soaking down in a little private gust that she has there. So it's not over, as we've seen, getting those ley lines right, particularly where they choose to jibe.
Where will the jibing moment be? It's looking like Emma is definitely riding this gust all the way down on this downwind leg of the course, the penultimate leg of this medal race course. Whereas Tamar, she definitely had a strengthy lead at that top mark. There she is rounding that bottom gate. Where is the mark? There it is, the mark. She is now making her way for her final reach. It's looking like, wow, she's done the
job. So she now has 1.5 points on the scoreboard. So we still have to do another race, correct?
Correct.
There we go.
It's game on. It is game on. Tamar Steinberg, an amazing grand final race from her. She now adds 1 win to her scorecard. Now it gets interesting. Now it gets very, very interesting. 3 riders now have the chance
to win this last race.
Exactly.
That's and actually, if Maya wins the next race, then we will have 4 riders. So possibly
Correct.
2 more races to go.
Possibly. It is possible.
Wow. This is it's a lot. It's a lot of racing. But you know what? It keeps the hopes alive. It makes it very close. It's a different style of racing that we haven't seen. You know, this is why we call it the medal series. So now we have 3 sailors, all with 1 win each,
there we
going
have it.
into the final.
The final. So it is Emma Wilson, Tamar Steinberg, and Teresa Steinlein, all on 1 win each. Currently on no wins is Maya Gisler, but we have seen she certainly has what it takes to win a race. So,
I mean, the amazing thing out of these, 3 girls, the worst they can do is 4th, which is incredible, So really, at the end of the day, you've got to be very, very happy. Maybe they should create a leather medal, a copper medal. I know that in the International Surfing Association, because when you go down to the finals, you have 4 in the final, and they give a copper medal to the 4th person.
Wow,
yeah, so you have a bronze, silver, a gold, silver, bronze, and copper, and it's been a thing since they've had the World Surfing Games. So yeah,
wow.
But because 4th in this format, the 4th should be highly recognised. I know that they put them on a podium, but that's it's pretty cool.
And there is the replay of the grand final that we just saw. Emma Wilson definitely having a good start down that pin end, really putting on the power, but Tamar and Teresa were close on her heels. Look at this shot. They are just working to the max. And Teresa Steinlein here is where she went right high on the foil. Nearly, oh, holy moly, she nearly had a mega crash there. But she showed her skill, she showed her expertise, and she saved it. And what a race that was she had as well. But Emma Wilson still leading throughout. But here was the race-defining moment. Teresa and Emma deciding to go onto the left side of the course, but splitting was Tamar Steinberg.
Yeah, so it's been it's always a game of 2 halves in this racing. You have the start, and then you have that first down. And then it's that second upwind mark. That's where our races have been won on. When they come through that gate for that second upwind is where we're seeing some massive changes in the fleet. And that is a little bit of luck of the draw, because we've seen sailors come out of the left, we've seen sailors come out of the right. And so there's a little bit of looking over your shoulder, looking upwind to see where the next big gust is, knowing that one side only has 1 tack, the other side has 2 tacks. And yeah, there's a bit of luck involved as well,
Certainly, but I'm a strong believer that you do make your own luck. That's certainly something to it as well.
There is. I mean, but there's also luck as well.
There
when
is
you get to this level,
there is
it's
definitely
management
luck.
And luck,
For
I
sure.
used to have a saying, actually, luck beats skill.
Luck beats skill.
Because sometimes you could be the best sailor and someone gets really, really lucky.
Very true.
So,
Very true.
sometimes luck does actually beat skill. So you need a bit of both. You need a sprinkling of both. And whoever's got that star above them, they will end up becoming our world champion.
That's it. And we will be crowning 2 world champions here at this competition. We're here on the last day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. And what a day it has been so far. We're currently on the grand finals for both men and the women. On the women, we've had a lot of wins so far. And on the men, we also have another winner. So it is going to be pressure on, exciting, exhilarating times on. On our screens at the minute, Brazil 7, Matheus Isaac, he has had an amazing medal series so far, coming from the quarter final. He's been doing amazing, and now he is inside of the grand final. Not quite on one win at the minute. Who is on one win? It is Andy Brown, and it is Tom Arnoux. Both on one win. So if either of those win another race, they will become the 2025 world champion. So how does this race work? 4 riders make the grand final, top 2 from the semis and top 2 from the previous series. Those get bonus points for their top performances earlier in the week. First overall starts with 1 win and second with half a win. First to reach 2 points out of these 4 riders wins. Win races earn points, and if there's a tie, the latest race decides it.
Looks like we've got great wind on the course today. Right, for this end, there's beautiful little white caps coming in from the top of the screen. Not so many holes. I know we're going to be in for an epic final heat number 2 here with these men as the time ticker ticks down. With only just under 2 minutes to go, these guys will be setting up their lines, looking up wind to see where these gusts are coming from, and really working out whether they want to go for that pin end, whether they want to go from that boat end. But as we've seen from a lot of the races, it's actually most of the race is won and lost depending on what side you go through after you've gone through that gate, whether you go to the right-hand side or the left-hand side going upwind, where we've seen the biggest changes in the lead in this particular race format. So it's not just a drag race, it's a race of strategy. It's a race of positioning, not only from where the other sailors are, but from where those wind gusts are coming down through that course and the different angles. And then also cutting your losses, because if you just follow other sailors around the mark, there is probably not very good likelihood of passing them. So great tactics that are going on from these sailors, and split decision making. And yep. We'll see who's going to win this one.
Who will win it? It could be anyone, to be honest. It really could be anyone. All of these riders have what it takes to win races and win races in the grand final. Tom Arnoux, he showed us exactly what it takes. He won the last race, so he has 1 win on his scorecard. Andy Brown at the top there also has 1 win on his scorecard from his top performance earlier in the competition. Matheus Isaac, he has come all the way from the quarterfinal, now in the grand final. An amazing series from him. Nicola Renner down the bottom as well. He came in second, so he is now in the grand final as well, but we are inside the last few seconds. Look at Andy Brown at the top, putting the power down. Boom. And he has got the speed. Look at this yet again. All riders extremely close. Unfortunately, Nicola Renner just got rolled a little bit by those other 2 riders, Matheus Isaac and Andy Brown. Andy Brown, he's got the speed here. He has got the muscle. He is putting the power down.
Wow, that was an exciting start. And these guys are reaching pretty top speeds here, as this is the fastest angle of sail on the iQFOiL, but it's also all about control. And we saw Tom just a little bit of a wobble there, which enabled Andy to shoot through over the top of him. And it looks like, wow, Andy's actually come around that top mark, that gold jersey in first around this first mark after that wild reach. I love the shots that are coming out of that first reach and how close it is. And these guys just really pedal to the metal, going as fast as they can along that first reach.
What a race this is turning out to be. We saw the last race was an absolute stonker of a race, and yet again, this is exhilarating, absolute cinema. It certainly is. Put it on a big screen. Tell all your mates, tell all your family to come and watch, because this is epic. Currently in the lead on this grand final, it is Andy Brown repping that yellow bib. He has had an amazing week so far. Will he be able to finish it with a win? We'll find out very soon, but closely on his heels is Matthias Isaac, Brazil 7. He came all the way from the quarterfinals. He is showing exactly how to do a medal race series. And just to the left, now driving, is Tom Arnoux. He won the previous grand final, so he is also on one win. But it is still Andy Brown in the lead here. Will he be able to defend his lead all the way? A little bit of extra bear downwind just because he didn't get that ley line quite perfectly, but he is putting in the pumps. Andy Brown pumps non-stop, because he wants it, but also Tom Arnoux wants it. You can see he's putting some big pumps in too. God,
wow, this is an amazing shot here. It's a bit of a pump off, both pumping up to bounce their boards upwind to get that wind position and to try and roll the other guy. This is an epic battle. This is what you want to see in a final at a World Championships, where these guys just don't stop. As soon as one of them lets off, the other one will be able to shoot out or roll the other person. So
they're not stopping, are they?
They are not stopping. This is epic battle.
And
so,
Andy comes out on top.
Andy,
he doesn't stop. And he came out on top. What a manoeuvre
because
from
whoever
Andy.
wins out of these two is going to win the World Championship if they're the top two. So we're looking at an incredible battle here, but never ever count out Matthias, you know. He went to the other side because if you follow, you're not going to pass. So it'd be interesting to
look
see
at the
him
angles here.
coming out of this left-hand lane.
Look at the angle of Matthias
height.
here. He's got a lot higher angle compared to the other two riders down there.
Yeah, it would be very fascinating to see who comes out the top here. It's quite hard to tell.
Oh, great
right,
tack from Andy.
Beautiful
and also
tack from
Tom.
Andy.
He is still pumping. Andy wants it. He is putting in the power. He knows if he wins this could be his last race. But it is
Matteo coming out of the left-hand side.
Matthias Isaac coming in.
If he pulls off a foiling tag here, it's game on.
God blimey. Matthias has dropped
not
off
such a great
the
tag.
foil.
Oh, no.
Matthias has dropped off the foil. And look, a massive wind shift as well. Meaning that Andy hasn't quite made the ley line there. Who
is exciting.
is going to make the ley line? No one is. There is Andy. Will Tom be able to make it? Oh, no, someone else has come in. Matthias has also come in. Oh, my gosh. And Andy rounds the top mark in first place. This is unreal. Everything is going on. But what is really going on is that Andy is in the lead in this grand final. If he wins this race, he will become the 2025 iQFOiL world champion. Oh my gosh, this is so exhilarating.
That was insane. That top mark with that gust just shows how wild the racing has been today. But hot on his tail still, you know. Who is
it's Nicola Renner in that second place.
Exactly. So, you know, he's still got to hold on there.
Oh.
It's not over, but he's looking very, very good. He's sailed incredibly well. And to be able to put that double tack in right at the top mark is usually very, very costly, and he pulled it off beautifully.
He handled it under pressure, and he is still under pressure because he is in that World Championship winning place at the minute. How is his drive? It looks slightly sketchy, but he is still all good. There is that bottom mark. Only one reach separating him between the 2025 iQFOiL World Championship title. He is on defense mode. He has all the pressure on him right now. The biggest moment of his career so far. Will he be able to take it? There is the finish line. Andy Brown coming across the line. 2025 iQFOiL World Champion.
Wow, he must be just absolutely elated and probably a little bit surreal at the moment to win. He probably, the emotions that be running through him right now after this week of racing, to be able to hang on to that lead and take that World Championship title, you know, and he's new into that real top 10. You know, this is his first real life big win from his life so far and his career so far. Real hats down, congratulations for an epic battle. He had to work incredibly hard for that win. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
gosh, what a moment. What a moment. Andy Brown trying to pull it in, his coach there not succeeding, but Andy Brown is the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. What a moment for him. He needs to enjoy this, isn't he?
Yeah, this
Wow.
is such a, when you win a race, that feeling, it's like this phew, and it's just like this satisfaction of surrealism. Is that a word? Surrealism?
Surrealism. If it's not, that's a new one.
It sounds like a good one, but it is, absolute congratulations. The work, the time, the effort, the support that goes into building a world champion. From when you're a young kid to having that dream of becoming a world champion today, the support by your parents as they have to fund you because it's not a cheap sport, and guide you. And then the coaches, the management, your teammates, everything. It's a real moment to have a lot of gratitude for the place, all that work that you've done, the hours, blood, sweat and tears in the gym, the hours on the water, the hours racing, the disappointments when you're not going fast enough or you make a mistake. And when it all comes together and you win, it really is a precious moment.
It is like nothing else. Andy Brown is now the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. What a moment for him. The biggest result in his career. He has got it. I'm sure all his fans will be absolutely loving it. And one person that will really be loving it is Andy Brown himself. What a moment for him. This is where he started off his championship winning race. An absolute blinder of a start. At that first mark, he was already leading, but only by a split second. The pressure on him was absolutely unreal, but he held it, jibe after jibe, safely after safely maneuver here, just defending his points here. Wow.
He sailed actually a pretty good race in tricky conditions. As he saw, he went out to the right-hand side of the course, and this pump-off that he had with Tom. This was epic. This was like, it would have been good to time that pump-off to see how long he pumps for, because that's tiring. It's like being on a rowing machine, going as hard as you can till you're in complete oxygen debt.
And he worked, but he is still working. Here was another one of this race winning moments. He did that double tack, but he did it under pressure, and he did it absolutely perfectly, rounding on the downwind through to the final reach and through to the finish. Nicola Renner in second place. Also another great race. Matthias Isaac in there and Tom Arnoux as well. All four of those riders. What a competition they've had.
What a great race, and when you look at that, and if Matteo had have gone maybe about 10, 5 more board lengths, he might have rounded that mark in first. It would have been game over. So it's, it just shows how close this racing absolutely is, and the quick decisions that you have to make to get around that course.
It's unreal. Huge shout out to James Hatcher also on there. His coach having a very good week so far. Well, and it ends with a win for James as well. And Andy, what a competition he has had. This really is a big one for him. This means that he bumps up a big level of support within his federation for 2 years. So now he is sorted. Actually, he had 1 year of being outside of the team, unfortunately, but he shows exactly how to come back. He loves windsurfing. He loves just iQFOiling, and this is exactly how to show it. He is the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. What a moment for him.
What a moment for him. He'll be dining out on that race for years, because that was an epic race. Good start, good downwind, and then that pump upwind to show the amount of fitness and the amount of physical effort that he put in. And then that double tack at the top mark when you're already fatigued from all that pumping, and to pull it off perfectly. And then to put your nose down and head downwind, stay cool, calm and collected, and then to do a double jibe at the very bottom flawlessly. And to finish, he actually deserved that win.
He really, really, really deserved that win. As you said, there was many points in there which he showed what it took to be the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. And now we are going over to an interview with Andrew Brown, our 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. Let's see what he thinks.
Vice European champion, and now you are like senior world champion. You've made it. How do you feel now?
I'm shocked, really shocked. Incredible. I think I said after the Europeans last year I'd peaked and I should retire. Turns out it's now I've peaked and I should retire, but we'll see if I can continue on. Super happy. Really, I'm so happy. Thanks to the team, all my friends, family, everyone that supported me, because I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for them this past year, 2 years. So huge, really shocked. Yeah, but.
And what was the key to win this one?
Quite a lot of pumping, quite a lot of luck. A mix of the two. It just worked out for me. Tons of good guys in the top can win these competitions, and lucky it was me this time. So, but yeah, really happy. And well done to all the other guys. I think it's Tom and Nicolo who finished second and third respectively. So yeah, huge congrats to them.
Congratulations and enjoy.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you so much. Cheers.
What a great interview. What a quality human being. So humble and humility that he has, and congratulations to the others. And, that was egoless. That was an egoless interview where he really is thanking all the people around him, just like I said, and there he is, showed up and showed up what's actually real about when you actually win. And it was his win. He deserved that win on the day, and what a great human being he is.
Legend.
Yeah,
Absolute
so cool. I'm
legend.
really happy for him. It's great to have winners that really are respectful.
Yeah.
And win on the water and off the water.
Exactly. He is one of those guys that he deserves it. He deserves it. What a race from him. What a championship from him. But now we are going straight on to the women's grand final, heat number 3. So remember who is in this heat. We have Tamar Steinberg down the bottom end. We have Theresa Steinlein from Germany in the middle there. Also in the middle, Maya Gisler. And at the top end at the minute, it is Emma Wilson. How is this start? Remember, we did have a little bit of an over early last time, but at the minute, it's looking all right. Tamar Steinberg down that bottom end, certainly having the best start so far, but look how close all these riders are coming in through the line. Oh, it's pretty windy out there now, isn't it, Barbara?
It is. You can see the girls are actually moving around quite a lot on their rigs and on their foils to try and stabilise their kit, to get the fastest speed out of them and have that real smoothness as they go through the water. And actually, Tamar's got a little bit of advantage here. You can see that her sail's not moving that much. She's actually quite locked in with her speed. But it's just a short reach, and it's only really just the beginning of the race, as we've seen in all the other races. But it does pay sometimes to be in that front position where you can actually make your decisions of when you want to jibe and which mark you want to go round, so you can lead the race from the front.
And Tamar Steinberg showing us exactly how to do that at the front. She is in that defensive place at the minute. Emma Wilson deciding to jibe off first. Oh, a little bit of a sketchy jibe there, really going back upwind. However, she is straight. Well, still all of them on the foil now. Theresa Steinlein deciding to go quite a lot further. Will that be the right idea? We'll find out very, very soon. Already quite a split off the pack there, isn't there?
There is actually. That place where they jibed, you have to be really careful where you jibe, particularly when it's patchy, because if you jibe in where it is lighter, it's hard coming out the other side, and you actually have to round up a little bit, and you lose quite a lot of way. So having the control of where you want to jibe and how you're going to jibe is really important. You can see Emma coming down quite quick from that middle position. But this jibe coming into the gate is quite crucial. And Emma now will have to decide whether she wants to go out to the left-hand side and follow Tamar round or go out to the right side. So yes, and Emma, that's just what I thought. Good girl, driving around the other mark to go out to the other side of the course. So it actually still pretty close, and it's still anybody's game. It really will depend on who gets that pressure on either side, as we've seen in all these races. So it will be crucial where Emma decides to tack and where Tamar decides to tack on in this race, depending on the gusts and the angles on coming down, because as we saw in the boys race, if you underlay that a little bit and have to do a double tack at the start, then that can be really dangerous for your lead. So here it'll be all about Emma will be looking over her shoulder, analysing, looking upwind to see where that gust is coming from, where to tack into that gust, and whether she wants to overlay slightly to give her a little bit of room in case the wind does swing. And we can see the top mark coming up into this top of the screen there now. So she must be getting quite close to thinking about throwing in a tack to be able to get to that top mark.
When she does put in that tack, though, it's going to be quite a good position, because we do see Maya Gisler actually a bit more upwind of her. However, when Emma attacks, she will have that right of way. They are both on that tack now. Emma looking like she's got quite a nice ley line there, and she's just about to go into a bit of more of a gust there. Will it lift her? Will it knock her? We're going to see very, very soon on her exact line here. It's looking like, it's looking right on, isn't it? Right on.
She is. She's looking pretty good there. So it really will depend on the angle that Teresa and Tamar have coming into that top mark. Remembering that these two girls have to put another tack in, which is quite costly with this particular breeze in this situation.
Oh, right.
And if Emma is on this ley line, she is actually looking pretty good. And if the wind stays steady, I'd be putting my money on Emma right now. She's sailed a beautiful upwind.
But Maya Gisler,
Maya's actually lifted up onto her, and Emma has actually put her nose down a bit to keep her in and behind her. So this is game on.
This is really game on.
This time, pay to go out to the right. So
it certainly did. Emma Wilson taking the right idea along with Maya Gisler there. And there it is. There it is. Emma Wilson in the lead at the minute. If she keeps this lead, she is already on one win from her top performance in the previous week. She is on that one win. All she has to do is win one more race within this grand final. So she is in that defensive mode. She is in the position to picking up the World Championship title, but Maya Gisler deciding to jibe off a lot earlier.
It was interesting. Maya jibed before she went into the water of the wake of the boat, because sometimes that can be the water when you go behind a wake of a boat. It can cause a bit of disturbance in and around your foils. So Maya took the chance, well, if I follow her, I'm not going to beat her. I'm going to jibe a little bit earlier, not go through that wake, and take my chances. So she's gambling, which is fantastic. That's exactly what she does. And then Emma came with her. So it'd be really interesting to see the separation from these two as we scan out a little bit. But Emma's looking pretty much in control here. She's coming into the last jibe now by the looks of that.
How is it all a little bit sketchy indeed?
She's very gentle. Little tentative with those jibes.
Very safe, but she is coming round that bottom gate now.
Playing it safe, nice and smooth.
There is that bottom mark, and she makes it through.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy for Emma. I know how hard she has worked to finally try and win a world championship. She's won many regattas. She's won so many races. She's won Olympic medals. Would this be her first iQFOiL Championship?
I'm just so stoked on the racing right now. I'm just watching close.
Well done,
Emma Wilson coming through towards the line. Where is that line? She is going to become the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. Where is that line? She is going to be stoked, and she is happy. She's letting it out. She deserved that, and off she goes. Emma Wilson, 2025 iQFOiL World Champion.
What a race for Emma. You can tell what a relief for her. I know that after Paris in 2024, she won so many races, and then this medal race has been her nemesis in a way. And to be able to pull that off today and do what she's done is just absolutely brilliant. I'm so incredibly happy for her and her whole team. You know, Sam, her coach, who's been sort of by her side and walked through with her for the last sort of 5 years. And I know her mum, Emma, her mum, Penny. I used to race against Penny, her mum. So that shows our generation. But her mum has been an incredible support for her for a very long time. So really fabulous effort for Emma. And I know this will be a massive relief for her to get to win a world championship title in iQFOiL.
She so deserves it. In the past, she has been leading competition and just missed out on that top spot many times. But she has come straight back into it this year. She won the first international games this year. Then she also won the Princess Sofia Trofeo Sofia regatta in Palma, and now topping it off, she is the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion. It is all coming together for Emma. She is happy. Sam Ross, her coach, is also extremely happy for her. The amount of glee, you know, the amount of joy. Emma Wilson, she so deserves it. She's had many times where she's just missed out, but now getting that top spot. You rock it, Emma. You rock it.
Yeah, so well deserved. She's been such a consistent sailor for so many years, you know, winning a bronze medal and, a silver medal, bronze medal in Tokyo.
Bronze, yeah.
In the RSX, then jumping onto iQFOiL. She does more hours than, you know, she does a lot of hours sailing. She's been a machine. She's very fastidious in what she does. Just trains really hard and very consistent.
Yeah, she
Every
is.
Inch counts.
Yeah, that's it. Another one that really deserves it. There is the replay of this final here on the final day of the 2025 iQFOiL World Championships. This was another extremely exciting grand final where there was a lot of mixings around. Here was the medal winning moment, the championship winning moment when she went up onto the other side of the course. She saw the wind. She took that risk, and boy, did that risk reward her. There was that last time that was actually pretty sketchy, but just imagine the amount of pressure that is going through your head, and there she goes, crossing the line. She is the 2025 iQFOiL World Champion, Emma Wilson. She really deserves that win. Wow.
Incredible. I think hopefully we're going to go for an interview or something with her and catch the joy coming out of her, from her. We've seen it from the aerial. It'll be nice to hear her few words, and I'm sure that we're going to get in close to an interview from Emma, from our newly crowned iQFOiL Women's 2025 World Champion.
And look at that, 2 British World Champions. They're certainly doing something right, that end of the world, aren't they? Andrew Brown for the men and Emma Wilson for the women. What a performance from the British team there. We also have the rest of the British team on the boat there, just supporting each other. Great to see, a great team there, all helping them out, and it really works. It really works. This is where it's all come together for Emma Wilson now, and also Andy Brown, both 2025 iQFOiL World Champions.
Wow, pretty good for the Brits.
Certainly so.
I think there'll be a lot of teetotaling happening now.
Teetotaling. Oh yeah, cheers.
Little cup of tears.
There we go.
Cheers happening in the Brits team.
Cup of tea, piece of cake time. There we go.
Two world championships in one team is actually pretty outstanding.
That is amazing.
Something that, but we know how close this racing is. We know how close those scores were for the top 10 and top 10 in both the men and the women's fleets. So we have an interview coming up for Emma quite shortly on the boat. So let's throw away to Emma and hear what she has to say.
What an epic final! After 3 rounds, you made it. You're world champion. What is the feeling just now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I believe it. I think I was starting to wonder whether it's all gonna go wrong again. And then I was just like, I don't know. I mean, I like windsurfing, so maybe I just wanted to do more today.
And so, like, what was the key to winning this last race after those two first rounds?
I knew I was really fast. Like, even in the first one, I started last and finished second. So, just believing in my speed and never giving up. I think all week, that's what I just keep saying to myself. It's not over till it's over. And then I got a nice shift, and I don't know, I'm great.
Great to hear from Emma Wilson there. A huge ambassador for windsurfing overall. And she also said it was great to hear that earlier on, you know, it's not, don't give up until it's over. She didn't have the best start to the competition. Still very good, but she wasn't in that top spot earlier on. But she kept working throughout. Came into this final day leading. Again, she didn't quite win those first two races and also had that crash earlier on. But she kept her cool. She kept it going. She did not give up. And she came out with the win. A huge achievement for Emma Wilson. It didn't go wrong this time. It went super right. A huge congratulations to Emma Wilson. She loves windsurfing. That is one of the most amazing things about this. And along with everyone else, she just loves windsurfing, steezing out, cruising out on the water, loving life, loving windsurfing. And that's what will give you a world championship title.
Yeah, she really epitomizes, you know, our sport. That her core value is the fact that she absolutely loves windsurfing. Secondary to that, she wanted to be the best in the world, you know? But when you come back to the core value of why, and it's because it is such a cool sport, and she's a great role model and so supportive of all the young girls that are coming through and all the young girls that are aspiring to come through or to be foilers. You know, she's a brilliant role model for our sport.
It is just epic, absolutely epic. So here we have the iQFOiL Women's Podium for 2025. In third place, picking up the bronze medal, Theresa Marie Steinlein. In second, Tamar Steinberg. And our 2025 iQFOiL World Champion, it's Emma Wilson.
What a week. What a final.
And moving on to the men's winners indeed, there is our podium.
We have in third place Nicolai Renner from Italy, and in silver medal coming from France, Tom Anu, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. And finally, our champion, our world champion of 2025 and the men's, Andy Brown, with a well-deserved one. Congratulations, guys.
Absolutely huge moments for each and every one of those riders. Big shout out to Tom Anu as well. What a competition he has had, and what a medal series he has had. Qualifying from those quarters all the way through to the final and picking up that silver medal. A huge performance from him there, and a huge performance from all the riders that we've seen throughout today, but also from throughout the week. It's been an amazing week so far, and what a way to end it.
Totally. It's been great hanging out with you, Rafferty.
Thank you so much,
Talking windsurfing for 3 hours or whatever it is.
It's been epic.
I must say I've done a lot of talking. And today, and finally, we're going to finish off with the highlights from today. Thanks, everybody, for listening. It's been a pleasure to present to you these finals and enjoy these last scenes of the World Championships here in Aarhus.
not just to compete, but to conquer the impossible. This is not just a race. It's the pursuit of perfection, a battle of wind, water, and willpower. They come from every corner of the earth. The fastest, the fiercest, the most fearless. Riders who've trained their whole lives for this moment. Masters of balance, precision, and raw explosive speed. Foiling above the surface, defying gravity, chasing fractions of seconds, chasing glory. This is where champions are made and legends are born. Every gust, every jibe, the pinnacle of wind-powered sport, the apex of human performance. This is not just the future of sailing. This is the future of sport.